Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and it's Thursday, and it's also happy hour. We got a hell of a show on tap for each and every one of y'all today. We're going to talk a lot about the trade rumors that have been circulating around Trey Hendrickson. I want to talk about the trade rumors that have been going on, not necessarily with the Raiders and Anthony Richardson, but since Anthony Richardson was recently benched, I found a quote from Pete Carroll that I think there's going to be some people that go, if you thought that trading for Richardson was impossible, wait until you see the one show that I got coming up here, because I think you're going to go, all right, Mitch, there is an actual shot that this one ends up going down. I want to talk about Micah Parsons. I already saw some people down below, and as always, if you have a question that you want to get up here on this show, hashtag Raiders or Super Chat to skip the line and get in the front. Now, I'm going to go through some of the practice news and notes today. I'll be honest with you, today was not a walkthrough practice, but it was a very, very, very light practice today for the Las Vegas Raiders. They're obviously getting prepared for their game up against the Arizona Cardinals on Saturday, and they're going to be traveling out, I believe, later on. I actually think they travel out bright and early tomorrow, with that game being so flippin' late, 10 o'clock Eastern time. If you didn't already know, Jeremy Chuggs and I, we're going to be live for this game, so make sure you're subscribed, make sure those notifications are turned on, and to the 500 people that we already have here right now, are y'all going to the Raiders and Cardinals game? Give me a yes, give me a no. If you're typing yes, always send us pictures. Don't be afraid to send us some videos. Don't be afraid to send it to me on Instagram, tag us and stuff. I love being able to share that type of content on these shows on game days. Also, if you're not going to the game, there's one place to hang out, and one place to hang out only, and that's here on the Raiders Report. We're going to have a lot of fun on Saturday. I can't wait, dude. Like, to me, being able to get to that final preseason game, it's an opportunity where dudes are literally fighting for their job. But then it's also the final step, I feel like, until we finally get into the regular season. And, you know, that first preseason game is fun. Second preseason game is fun. Third preseason game, you typically don't see as many guys going out there. But we're just one step closer than to the regular season. And I'm at the point where I'm starting to itch. You know what I mean? Like, I'm starting to itch a little bit. I'm ready for Raiders football to be back. What up, Ray Romero? Sucker-free Raider here in the building. I also see Raider Nation 80 is here. William Benoit is here. Moonlight Reaper got that number 1 next to his name. I got some deals coming up here on today's show, but also I do want to give a huge shout-out to today's sponsor, because our sponsor today is Prize Picks, and you're going to hear me talk a lot about Prize Picks during the season because it's something that I use. It's something that my guy Jeremy Chuggs uses, and this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Preseason football is underway and college football is here, so don't miss any of the action this season on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Prize Picks is simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks run your game, and the one thing that I always will do up here on the show, and you guys will see it as today's live show goes on, I'll show you some of my picks that I have for the Raiders for the entire season. I actually also made a few lineups yesterday late at night because we were literally just talking about it before chats in the Chat Sports studios. K-State or Iowa State?
Ooh.
Right? Like, K-State or Iowa State, let me know down below who you're going to go for that game, because if you're playing over there on Prize Picks, I believe the K-State quarterback, half a passing yard. They're giving you one. And I don't know too much about college football. Like, I'll start studying more and more college after the season because then I look at it from a Raiders standpoint.
Quick one for the audience out there.
Okay.
I have the Prize Picks app open right now.
I'm listening.
Maybe you've heard of this guy. Maybe you haven't.
I just got my K-State bat.
The Panthers play tonight
up
against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm listening.
Hunter Renfrow.
Oh, boy.
16.5 receiving yards. We going the more we go in the less. Type M for more, type L for less. Let me know. Hunter Renfrow, 16 and a half receiving yards. I will say, up against the Texans in week 2 of the preseason, he looked pretty good.
I mean, he looks healthy, which I think is the biggest thing for Renfrow, just because it was unfortunate the concussion started adding up. It was unfortunate that I think some of those other injuries started to linger. But, I mean, he's 29 years old. I think that offense could be interesting. And to me, the way that I think that Carolina is going to use him is kind of the way that Bryce Young really relied on Adam Thielen a few years ago, and he's not going to get that much target share, but I do think that he's going to get quite a bit of targets. You know what? Give me the more. It's Renfrow. I feel bad picking against him. Today's deals here on today's show, every $5 super chat that we get, you're going to be entered in our fantasy football raffle. Also, since it's happy hour, I already have one open here, cracked open, and actually, we got some brand new beer koozies, which are pretty flippin' dope. And I also told Chugs, I'm not showing beers on this show anymore until somebody sponsors this show. We're giving away way too much free advertisement. If anybody out there knows any beer companies, if anybody knows out there any, I don't know, seltzer company, I don't really give a shit. I want to get some beer sponsorship on here. And in the meantime, we got some brand new Raiders Report koozies. So shout out to all of you for always helping out this show grow. Apparently, I can't even drink a beer. If you guys are trying to get in our duck race, $20 Venmo, you're going to be able to get in at Mitchell Renz 365. Every hundo today, we're going to spin a bang wheel. We're going to have a little bit of fun today. It is happy hour after all. And since I am going out to Arizona tomorrow, going out to Tucson, I'm going to be hanging out with a bunch of Raiders fans. I've always thought that this show is so much more than just a YouTube show. We've been able to build a amazing community, and oftentimes I get asked, hey, man, can I get a Raiders Report hat? Well, today I'm going to put everybody who's watching the show up to the test here a little bit, and every bang that we get on today's show, I'm taking a Raiders Report hat out to Tucson, Arizona. So if we get one bang, some random Raider fan in Tucson tomorrow is getting a Raiders Report hat. If we get 5 bangs, 5 hats.
2 people have already said, Big Luck says the Alamo Beer Company.
Okay.
Look into that. I don't know if you have a connection, Big Luck.
If somebody's got a connection,
send them
the official beer sponsor of the Raiders Report has got a nice ring to it for the Alamo.
Also,
John Rodriguez. Cheers to you, brother.
The Alamo, never forget. Also, Bridget Rivera said Gorilla Rilla has a lot of hookups.
Gorilla Rilla, tell them to hook it up, man. I would love the opportunity to have something on here. There is not a show that has more eyeballs on it than the Raiders Report, and I'm very proud to say that we've been the #1 most watched Raiders show in the world for 7 years in a row. It's a pretty crazy accomplishment, but at the end of the day, I want people that want to rock with me. I want people that want to rock with Raider Nation, and that's really important to me. John Rodriguez, what's up, dude? I'll take Richardson over AOC any day.
And that actually,
Richardson has a higher upside, which I'll ask this question, and then I'll kind of go back to you here a little bit, John. I was asked this, I want to say Tuesday, and it put me in a mental pretzel because I do think Aiden O'Connell right now is a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson. However, though, if a team goes out and trades for Richardson, you have to let him develop, right? Like, you can't just go out and make the deal and not allow him to develop. Quite frankly, I think what Indy is doing to Richardson makes 0 sense. Now, I'll admit, I never would have drafted him in the first round, and I thought that he was an incredible athlete. Only 23 years old. You make the argument, maybe the greatest quarterback to ever come out of the draft from an athletic standpoint. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's got Cam Newton type of athleticism, but just can't throw the football, right? And if you're going to make a deal like this, you got to let him really pan out. You can't rush the process. Originally, I was like, I don't know if I want to do that because I don't know if we can trust a guy like Cam Miller. Because in my mind, if you make the deal for Anthony Richardson, you're moving on from Aiden O'Connell. You're not going to carry 4 quarterbacks on this roster. So if you're very confident in Cam Miller and if you're confident in his ability to run this offense, if God forbid Geno goes down, because, if Geno Smith goes down, we're in trouble. Right? Like, I don't think Aiden O'Connell's going to come save the day. I don't think Cam Miller's going to be able to put that Superman cape on and save the day. And I don't think Anthony Richardson would be able to save the day either. But I do look at, could I use Richardson in a certain way? And some of y'all are going to laugh at me. finding a tush-push QB is a very valuable asset in today's day and age in the NFL.
If you've been subscribed to the Raiders Report 1, you're pretty flipping awesome because, hey, we got almost 200,000 subscribers on the channel.
It's pretty wild.
We're getting there.
Dude, I want to get to 200K by week 1.
Mitch has got the countdown next to his bed. It's just like the clock. If you're watching the most current season of The Bear, it's like the countdown clock in that show where it's just the subs until 200,000. But also, Mitch has talked about 3-year window. A 3-year window.
Yeah.
With Spytek, with Pete Carroll, with Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson is still younger than half of the quarterbacks that were taken in this year's NFL draft. He's only 23 years old. So
Cam Miller is older than Anthony Richardson.
If you traded for Anthony Richardson, it wouldn't be for him to start the next 2 years. It would be in the thought of, okay, we groom him for 2 years behind Geno, and hopefully he can take over kind of like a Jordan Love situation with the Packers. Kind of like, you know.
I mean, I'll say this. If you were to watch Josh Allen at Wyoming, a quarterback that I think coming out of college had like a completion percentage in the low 50s. And historically, quarterbacks that have that low of a completion percentage in college don't really develop into being the right guys. And I'll tell you this. I am somebody where at first, if you would have told me, should the Raiders go out and trade for Anthony Richardson, I probably would have said pass. Coming up here on today's show, after doing some homework, after looking at a few little odds and ends, I'm at least going to make an argument of why the Raiders trading for Richardson isn't a crazy statement to make. And I also don't think that it's impossible either. And I'm excited to be able to break all that for you guys down. Now, we already have 700 people here in the building. If you haven't already, make sure you guys click that like button. It is Thursday happy hour. Every time somebody bangs today, we're going to put one down. The way that happy hour works is if we're putting one down, I hope you guys are putting one down with us. And always, always, always drink responsibly. Here are the Super Chat deals. Here are our Venmo deals. I'm going to look right now on my Venmo to see if anybody is in the duck race.
I also believe this is the same from last time.
Oh, boy. It is not. Patrick Roche, you got to add one, too, and then we'll be good. Because Roche was banging on Tuesday, which that's what he does, man. My guy Patrick Roche is a guy that goes out there and he likes to bang. Got a few people getting in the duck race. I see Fabian Moreno in. Anthony Green, you in right now, 20 to win. 20 here on the show. I got 2 super chats, and then what I want to do is I do want to get into our segments here. Alex and I, we have plans tonight, and they're not like super. Well, it's not. I shouldn't say well. That's not fair to say. But one of my off days is me traveling to Arizona tomorrow on Friday. And she kind of hit me with, well, you're not going to be with me on your off day Friday, so are we going to do anything on Thursday? I was like, well, it depends how crazy Thursday happy hour gets on the Raiders Report. But we have a fun little date night. I can't say it because she doesn't know what we're doing and the small chance that she's watching tonight. But I got to be out of here tonight by 5:30. Got to be done with this live show by 5:30. We have plans at 6:30 my time, so that gives me just enough time to literally run home, hop in the shower, throw some deodorant on, and we're going to keep on rocking and rolling. Let's go to Bishop. Bishop, hey, brother, cheers to you. Trade O'Connell for Sanders.
And, you know, I'm the biggest Shedeur Sanders fan here at the office.
Yep.
I wouldn't do this, though. I would not.
I mean, from a monetary standpoint, I would understand why the Raiders would want to do it. But I think at this point, you know, trading for Shedeur Sanders is just, it's not going to happen. And the biggest reason is, and it has nothing to do with Shedeur. I know I've answered this one a few times. The Raiders want you and the Raiders want everybody watching the show to buy into Geno Smith. The moment you make a deal for Shedeur Sanders, you're going to have certain fans that are going to want Shedeur to go out there and play over Geno. And, you know, like, I think Shedeur going out there in that first preseason game, it was fun to watch. It was exciting to see. But is Shedeur Sanders better than Aiden O'Connell right now? I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I don't think so. And
apparently he's not better than Joe Flacco.
Well, Shedeur can develop, and I think Shedeur is going to be one of those quarterbacks that with more time, with more, you know, like if he's in the right system. But I'll also say this. Do you think Tom Brady is a smart quarterback evaluator? Do you think that John Spytek is a smart quarterback evaluator? Do you think that this regime, which has done nothing but, and I'm not saying the Raiders, I'm saying the guys that we have done nothing but be able to find quarterbacks and turn them into something? That's a team that did more homework. I literally think the Raiders did more homework on Shedeur Sanders than all 31 teams did, and they still decided to pass on him. And, it's a difficult conversation, but to me, I don't really see why you would do this, unless you wanted to make money.
I'm telling you this right now. From what I heard in the pre-draft process, I could see it playing out like this. Because Shedeur will start at some point this year. Yeah. I think Shedeur, for this season, he's going to have a good couple games. He'll have some good games. As soon as teams get tape on him, he's done.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's going to be a good backup in the NFL. Now, maybe he goes out there and he gets some opportunities to start, and I think Shedeur's going to get opportunities to start, right? Just like Aiden O'Connell. But I agree with Chugs where, as soon as teams start getting tape on guys, you quickly see Aiden O'Connell looking like Aiden O'Connell. And I don't want to be too rough on AOC because I'm not surprised by what people are saying about AOC now. AOC now is kind of what I thought AOC is, and he's a good backup quarterback, but he's not somebody that's willing to go out there. Not somebody that's good enough to be able to win football games at the NFL level. And I kind of feel like that's the same way for Shedeur. And we did hear a lot of bad things at Chat Sports in regards to Shedeur Sanders. And, we sent a team out to the NFL Combine. We sent a team out to the NFL Draft. There's a reason why he fell as far as he did, and we'll just leave it like that. Let's go to Lil Watts. What up, Lil Watts? I want to sign Trey and Gilmore, but what about Jacoby? In terms of Trey Hendrickson, I'll be real with you. I know what Hondo put out there. I had a source reach out to me yesterday that just said, it's 100% cap. And maybe Hondo was told that, and I always want people when they're given information to share that information. I think it's always important to do. But do I think that the Raiders are front runners for Trey Hendrickson? No, I do not. In terms of Stephon Gilmore, one of the things that Pete Carroll said the other day in one of his press conferences, which caught my attention, he basically was like, our corners are going to play special teams. And he said it. He was very, very clear. And he said, our corners, our guys are going to play special teams in return. In terms of, I think he was asked about Darian Porter. Stephon Gilmore at 34 years old is not going to go out there and play special teams. And
that shouldn't stop the Raiders from signing him, though.
I don't disagree with you
if you're like, we can have a CB1, we can have a starting corner, but he doesn't want to be the gunner on punt. Okay.
Listen, I mean, if it was up to me, Rasul Douglas is getting a phone call. Stephon Gilmore is getting a phone call.
Patrick B.
And I think the next guy I'm giving a phone call to is Patrick B. Bang! If you don't know what the B stands for, you are definitely new around here at the Raiders Report, which means one lucky person tomorrow at Desert Shark Tucson is getting a Raiders Report hat courtesy of Patrick B. What up, Mr. B? Also, I got a beer bong for you, my guy. Well, let's get this tailgate started. I would love to see our wide receiver one situation get handled. And I'll be honest with you, I put out a video on Tuesday. I got some interesting information over the weekend. I started hinting at it that I was going to give you guys a show on Monday about it. And, I want to say this. There is a situation going on with Jacoby Myers and the Raiders. But if you watch the video that I put out on Tuesday, it was me saying that, yes, Jacoby Myers is frustrated with the contract situation. It's a fact. I also had NFL insider Jordan Schultz reach out to me today. Him and I were going back and forth, and Jordan told me that he also was hearing the same things that I was reporting on in terms of there's a frustration level from Jacoby. But also, when you watch the video, I rank what I think is the most likely. Based on the information I was given, Jacoby's not going to sit out. Jacoby's not going to hold out. But there is a frustrating element of Jacoby sitting back going, man, I feel like I've done everything right by this organization since the moment I signed. I dealt with the Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler crap. I dealt with the Antonio Pierce, Tom Telesco stuff. And then I was showing up to non-mandatory. Y'all went out and traded for a quarterback. You extended him. Just Jacoby is not he's not pissed off at the Raiders, but he's just a little bit frustrated. And I think that that's the best way to put it. That was the word that was given to me, that there was just a frustration of Well, why not me? Like if y'all are talking about commitment to excellence, and if y'all are talking about finding players and extending players that you want to have here for the long haul, I'm not going to sit up here and disagree with Jakobi Meyers. And I think that the contract that I projected puts him at the 25th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. And let me know why for yes and for no down below. Making Jakobi Meyers the 25th highest paid receiver in the NFL, is that a fair deal? To me personally, I think it's more than a fair deal, because you can't just think about it 25th highest paid now. 2-3 years from now, he's probably the 35th, 40th highest paid wide receiver. And that's good value to me based on the offense that we run. But I don't know if he's asking for more. I'll be real. I have not heard any number figures. I have not gotten any length of contract, guaranteed money. I don't know. I've projected what I think it could be, but it is a cold, hard fact. Jakobi Meyers is frustrated right now with the Las Vegas Raiders, and I don't know if there's going to be more information that comes out on it, and I'll say it like this. You can believe me if you want. You don't have to believe me, but I do know this. I'm always going to share my information, and if you appreciated the way that we covered Christian Wilkins, we're going to do the exact same thing. I actually forgot we had a bang wheel. Uh-oh, what is this? Beer Bong Mitch plus... I'm nervous. All right, so Patrick B gets an extra bang, and I got to put down a beer bong here. So Patrick B gets an extra bang for our bang race here, which, Pat, I don't know how many you've already done this year, this year a shit ton. In terms of this month, though, I got you down for a few. Patrick B added to the list. Hey, y'all, if y'all want a free fantasy football raffle ticket, put some Patrick B's down below for trying to get this Raiders Report happy hour started the right way. Pat, cheers to you. He also asked, PC must have some insight on our corners with no moves happening. I think that they're just really trying to see what they got. And I think the Raiders are really confident in their coaching staff. I think they're confident in their players to be able to develop. I think that they're also playing we're running a very vanilla defense right now, so we're not over panicking. What up, John?
Mitch, don't be married, doofus. Take your wife to Arizona or you'll never hear the end of it from the mother-in-law.
Well, I'll be honest. First off, Alex's mother-in-law, she's an absolute legend, and I don't even think she would care if I was going or not, or if I didn't take Alex, because Alex's dad's birthday, we have a birthday party from him on Sunday, and that was more important of, we got to make sure that we're able to be there on Sunday, and Alex's family's doing something on Friday since I'm going out there. But I think Alex would want to go, and I would love to introduce her to Raider Nation, even more and more, get her included. But also at the same time, when I go out to these events, it's not that I don't want to pay attention to my wife. I always want to pay attention to my wife. But I don't get many opportunities to meet Raiders fans, shake hands, and she has the understanding. And, for me, I'm not saying I treat it like work, but I treat it like, I'm going to go out with my friends, I'm going to go out with my boys, and sometimes you just need to have your own personal nights. But her mom's not going to be the one telling me. If anyone, it would be Alex being like, oh, you should have taken me. But I'm trying to take Alex out to one Raiders game this upcoming season. Let's go to Sergeant Fighter. What's going on, my brother? Godspeed to the nation. Hope to see you, Mitch. Some of the nation tomorrow. What time tomorrow in Tucson? Noon. I'm going to be at Desert Shark Tucson at noon to 3 o'clock. And then there's a spot right next door. It's called the Culinary something.
Dropout.
Culinary Dropout. And it's literally right next door to Desert Shark Tucson. And we're going to have some beers there. But, in all honesty, and I'm dead serious when I say this, I have nothing to do tomorrow besides my flight. I land in Tucson bright and early in the morning, and then I fly back out bright and early on Saturday. All I'm doing tomorrow is hanging out with Raider Nation. So if y'all want to hang out all day, I'm down to hang out all day, but I will be there at noon. And based on what I heard, it's better to get there early. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But, dude, I'm looking forward to meeting everyone, man. I really am. I'm curious to see if this is what you look like. I hope that you show up just like this. Though I'm not going to square up. I'm going to be honest with you. Born a Raider fan, we should look at Amari Cooper. Our wide receiver room is bad. We shouldn't look at Amari Cooper. And Amari Cooper's not good enough to play on this Raiders team. I'm serious when I say that. He is injury-riddled. He was not good enough to play on the Buffalo Bills last season. To me, good teams make smart decisions. In the 3 playoff games last season for the Bills, he started in only one of those games. Like, they ended up benching him. The other part about Amari Cooper is he's got drop problems. I think when you have a quarterback like Geno Smith, and any quarterback, drop problems are a concern. But also, Amari's not going to go out there and block. So to me, you're essentially looking for a worse version of Devontae Adams. I'm good on that. To me, Amari's not better than Dante Thornton Jr. in terms of fit in this offense. You got to think about fit. He's not better than Trey Tucker. Fit in this offense. Jacoby Myers, not better than. I don't even think he's better than Jack Besh. I mean, Amari Cooper hasn't been good for like 2 seasons. And I get it, Browns, Cowboys, he's going from team to team to team. But I think it's also very noteworthy that a player as talented as Amari Cooper, I know that he's talented. Y'all know that he's talented. He's definitely injured. He's definitely fallen off. But think about all the teams that have been willing to trade him away. Like, to me, like, that's also glaring. 4 teams have said, we are willing to move on from Amari Cooper. And I've heard this from other people in the NFL. I've heard it from other players. He's a selfish guy. I don't need an injury-riddled, selfish player with drop issues that's not willing to block. It's not a good fit on our team. So, again, y'all, our Super Chat deals as it stands today. Every 5, if one comes in, I'm going to cheers you guys up because, again, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Sorry, I got to stay true to my word. I'm not showing them. Nobody's getting shown unless you're a sponsor here. Cheers to all y'all out there, to Sergeant Fighter, John Rodriguez, born a Raider fan. Cheers to each and every one of y'all. We are going to be doing a mailbag here on today's show, so if you want to get in, it's a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. I'm going to refresh my phone. I'm going to see who's getting it in.
Breaking news.
What?
Adam Schefter on ESPN just 3 minutes ago. If it wasn't anything, that was nothing. John Harbaugh wouldn't have to pray. Adam Schefter says, it sounds like Lamar Jackson's foot injury is scarier than the Ravens are leading on.
Wow. I mean, he got stepped on yesterday, right? He got stepped on yesterday. It's kind of a weird situation, but they kind of made it seem like, it's not a big deal. But for Schefter to say that, that's something. I think that's really interesting, actually. Victor Lobos, I got you in, and then I see Brooks.
I don't know what
Nelson,
that necessarily means,
I got
though.
you in.
Is he? I mean, they're saying the X-rays revealed no damage.
Yeah, I mean, if X-rays reveal no damage, but what exactly? Like, I'll say this: one of my best friends in college, he dropped a 45-pound weight on his big toe, and X-rays came back all good. But when I tell you he couldn't run, like legitimately run for a month, I used to have a video on my phone. Shout out to my best man, Joe Forcellini. I used to have a video on my phone of our athletic trainer in college basically taking his toe off. She removed the full top layer of his toenail. I mean, it was, for me, I was enjoying. I was watching. It was unbelievable. But he couldn't move for probably a good month, and I remember he went through like 3 pairs of cleats because the amount of blood he would lose in games.
That's a good point. Patrick B., X-rays show bones, not muscles.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if he got stepped on that, I don't even know what that muscle would be called on the top of your foot.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I have
foot
no
muscle?
idea. Yeah, let's go with that. Darth, you in.
Quick reminder, too, at the end of today's show, we're doing a mailbag, so hashtag Raiders or Super Chat. If you Super Chat, I'm only going to put the ones on here that like make sense, that are good questions for Mitch. Obviously, we'll show every Super Chat.
If we can get questions around the Raiders and Cardinals game and like roster bubble candidate stuff, like to me, like think of the players that you're watching the closest in that Week 3 game, preseason Week 3 game. I'll admit, Pete's kind of made it seem like anybody could play, and I'm okay with it. You know, like there's certain guys where I don't really need to see Max Crosby out there. I don't really need to see Brock Bowers out there. The full starting offensive line better be out there. I think the entire Raiders defense, maybe outside of, I don't know, Adam Butler, Jeremy Chin, I think that a lot of those guys on defense need to be out there. And that's kind of what you saw at practice today, where they were just moving a bunch of dudes around. And again, very, very light practice today for the Las Vegas Raiders in their preparation for that final preseason game. But get those questions in. Let me know what you guys are thinking. We got 3 segments on tap, and I do want to get in to the first segment here on today's show. Though, I did just see a Super Chat come in from Iron Raider. Iron Raider!
Na, 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 na,
Cheers to you.
na. Da, na, 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 na. Bow, 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 bow.
R.I.P. to Ozzy. R.I.P. Or that's not Ozzy, is it? Who is that?
I have to look it up.
Is it Iron Maiden? Oh, dude. Tuna right now is pissed off at me. I guarantee you that. Iron Raider, Paige Jacoby
Black
already.
Sabbath.
Black Sabbath. Yeah, that's embarrassing. You guys.
Black Sabbath.
David Zahn just going like this. Zahn, don't hate me. I know. Brandon Jasper's just sitting up there right now like, son of a... You piece of shit, Mitch.
Which
Sorry.
Which is Ozzy. So you were right.
Oh, I was right.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Ozzy.
Yeah. He's the lead singer of Black Sabbath.
All right. Bruh, Yoda. I know, guy. I don't know music, all right? I'm with you. Paige Jacoby Myers. I want to see y'all. Oh, you're going to be there? Dude, hell yeah, man. I'm excited, dude. Like, first off, I hope you don't look like this because I get a picture. Tomorrow, we're going to take a picture. You come up to me tomorrow. You say, hey, I'm Iron Raider, and we're going to get a new pic because this isn't going to fly with me anymore. Ed Robbins. Mitch is to sober, do math, and remember. Yep. All right, y'all. Let's get into the first segment. Coming up here on today's show, it's going to be Raiders training camp practice news. And again, I have a few notes. I'll be honest. It was very, very limited today. I'll always share the top stuff that I get, and that's what you're going to see. But I want to talk about some trade rumors, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk a little bit here about Anthony Richardson. And I'm going to tell y'all why. I don't think a trade is impossible for the Colts quarterback. And when you watch today's show and you see all my reasons, if you're somebody where you're like, Mitch, I do not want the Raiders to trade with Indy. That's where I was at earlier in the week. Now, if you believe in Cam Miller, I don't see why you shouldn't be interested in a guy like Anthony Richardson. I'll leave it like that. Coming up here, I'm going to tell y'all why. I don't think it's a bad idea if the Raiders went out and traded for Mr. A-Rich. Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, I will get into the Raiders training camp practice news and notes at the very end of today's show, but I wanted to talk about Anthony Richardson because the Indianapolis Colts quarterback, he was benched the other day for Daniel Jones, and there's been a lot of speculation of whether or not the Colts could potentially move on from the former number 4 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. And anytime big-time NFL news like this happens, I always get questions. I'm sure you guys see it on social media. Should the Raiders go out and trade for Richardson? I'm going to tell you all this right now. I don't think it's crazy to talk about this at all. Quite frankly, when I was first asked this back earlier in the week, I was like, dude, I don't really know if that's going to happen. I'm somebody that I am confident in Cam Miller being able to step up and be a backup quarterback because Aiden O'Connell is a big old shrug emoji right now. And because of that, I believe in Anthony Richardson's talent if you're willing to project it for the long haul. But let's talk about why this isn't a crazy thing to talk about. I'll also say it's not impossible for the Raiders to make this trade. So, the Colts named Daniel Jones the starter over Anthony Richardson. And benching Richardson to me means that his time is likely done in Indianapolis. The fact that he was the number 4 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, there's going to be teams that show interest in him. And the question is, what exactly does he go for in a trade? Does he go for a trade like a Joe Milton, another very athletic quarterback, but Milton was drafted severely much later? Does he go for a guy like a Trey Lance type of deal where Lance was drafted at number 3 overall? The Cowboys gave up a 4th-round pick for him. My question to you is this: type trade or type pass? Should the Raiders go out and trade for Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson? I'm going to hit you with an early YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. My answer coming up here in just a second. Everything depends on price tag, but I will say I am on board for the idea of the Raiders going out and trading for Anthony Richardson, not just because of Richardson, but because of what we have here on this Las Vegas Raiders team. But let me be very clear. I'm going to give this one only one just win, baby, in terms of how likely it's going to happen. I'm not going to sit up here and say that it's very likely, but I will be somebody up here that says that it's not impossible, and I don't think it's a bad idea for the Raiders to entertain this idea depending on the price tag. The first reason of why I think that this ultimately could end up happening, Aiden O'Connell has been struggling. You see it. I see it. You know who else sees it? Pete Carroll. This is what Pete had to say recently about AOC. He literally said it this week. I thought Aiden O'Connell continued to a little bit, but we're not quite as fast when he's playing. We don't play as quick from huddle to the snap. Still trying to work that out. And he made a poor choice on the throw for the pick. Unfortunately, it was at a crucial time. That was tough. Just the guy was covered, and if he had to throw it away or take off, we would have preferred that. I mean, think about that final quote. You know, Pete Carroll is wanting Aiden O'Connell to take off and potentially run it. That's not going to happen with AOC. And I'm a little bit frustrated, not so much in Aiden O'Connell, but his development, because I feel like this season he has taken a step back. And, you know, I get it. He's had different offensive coordinators from a Josh McDaniels to a Luke Getsy. But those numbers that y'all are looking at up there on the board, they're not very good numbers. And that one touchdown that he threw, he should be counting his blessings that he was able to go back out there in that first preseason game in the third quarter up against a bunch of backups and get that other opportunity. The second reason here of why I would say that a trade for Anthony Richardson isn't impossible is because of what Pete Carroll said about Richardson back in 2023. And you know, Pete said that he was a fan of him. I mean, look at this quote. This is a very interesting quote from Pete Carroll back in 2023. Shoot, we flew all the way out there to go see him. Not just to see him, but to be around him and to watch him and how he handled himself and his program with all the hype that was going on. We gave him tremendous consideration. He might be the best athlete that's ever been drafted at that position. He's arguably that. So we had to definitely consider that. I think what's really important about that quote for Pete Carroll is Pete's not somebody that I think beats around the bush. I think Pete is a very he's a 73-year-old man. I don't know how many 73-year-old guys are sitting there not telling you exactly what's on their mind. And I think that's what Pete does. But the fact that Pete said that in a year where Geno Smith, y'all know how much Pete Carroll loves Geno Smith, the fact that they are telling you that they at least entertained that idea when Geno Smith was the quarterback of that team, that tells me a lot about what Pete thinks of a guy like Anthony Richardson, but I also think it's what he thinks of a guy like Geno Smith, because you need to have a good quarterback to have a quarterback come in like Rich and then learn behind Geno. Geno is a professional, and Anthony Richardson needs to learn from a professional like Geno Smith. Luckily for us, though, we also have a bunch of professionals in that coaching staff, in that front office, and this reason right here is why if you're a Raiders fan, you should entertain the idea of them going out and getting Richardson, because I don't know if there's a quarterback on the planet that has a higher upside than Richardson. That's a true statement. Like, you talk about upside. Josh Allen's got great upside, right? Patrick Mahomes, great upside. Lamar Jackson, great upside. If this guy could figure out how to throw a football and develops into a good quarterback, go look at Josh Allen when he was at Wyoming. 54% completion percentage, but he got better and better and better because he had a guy like Brian Dable that did what he could to make the most out of him. We got Tom Brady, who has done a phenomenal job in his own career, being able to get the most out of his players, being able to get the most around the guys around him. John Spytek, look what he did for a dude like Baker Mayfield. Hell, when nobody believed in Tom Brady. Tom Brady goes down to Tampa Bay. They go out there, they win a Super Bowl. Pete Carroll, talking about a career from Geno Smith, really resurrected that guy's career. Russell Wilson, nobody believed in him. Made the most out of that. Chip Kelly has been able to win national championships. He's also been able to develop multiple different quarterbacks. And if you believe that he's a smart X's and O's guy, which is exactly what he is, then you invest in him. What about Greg Olson, regarded as one of the best quarterback coaches in the NFL, has worked with guys underneath like Sean McVay, has worked with Matthew Stafford, has worked with a Derek Carr, and he has worked with a lot of solid quarterbacks. I'll also say this, you want a cherry on top? I think it's important to note that the senior personnel executive, Anthony Patch, and also VP of player personnel, Brandon Hunt, they come from the Philadelphia Eagles, okay? The Philadelphia organization looked at a quarterback like Jalen Hurts. I sat up here and I said Jalen Hurts can't throw a football. Jalen Hurts, when he was in college, they literally wouldn't let him throw because he had to take time to develop. And if I'm sitting back there and I'm going, I just took two people from Philadelphia and helped turn Jalen Hurts into a top 10 quarterback now, like, that's the same style that you're going to go with a quarterback like Anthony Richardson. So you bring somebody in from Philadelphia, two guys that really helped out and were right-hand men to Howie Roseman, and then you combine it with our coaching staff, our front office. We have the right personnel to work on a quarterback like Richardson. You just got to give him time. And with a quarterback like Geno Smith, who's already basically got 3 years on a deal, you're going to have Richardson have plenty of time. And he's younger than Cam Miller. And he's younger than Aiden O'Connell. That's some serious upside there. So I will always say this on this program. You will become a smarter Raiders fan by watching this show. You don't have to agree with me. Quite frankly, I don't want you to always agree with me. But I want Raiders fans out there to at least think about possibilities and ask each other questions. Healthy conversations. And that's what I want to bring here. Always healthy conversations. So if you want to become a smarter Raiders fan, if you want to be the smartest Raiders fan in your fan group, hit that sub button, turn on those notifications. Coming up next here on the show, I do have my Anthony Richardson trade idea because, again, if we're talking about the trade, you got to understand what exactly it could potentially cost. And I'll get into this in just a moment. But a huge, huge shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. And I am so happy that Prize Picks is back because that means football's back. And my life is so much better when football is going on. And I know I'm not the only one. Preseason football is underway. College football is here. So don't miss any of the action this season on Prize Picks. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks run your game, and if you're trying to run my game, this is a lineup that I created. It is important to note that you can't just go only Raiders players. You do have to throw in another player from another team. So I took the quarterback that might have the worst defense in the National Football League, and I decided to roll with him because I know that the Bengals are going to be losing, or maybe not losing. Their defense is going to be giving up some points. But also what I love is if you look at week 1, you're going to see Dak Prescott. This is a max discount. If he throws for more than half a passing yard, you get a win there. I was actually sitting late last night, and I'll try to get my other lineups that I put together on Prize Picks. I'll try to show you guys. But I have this one in. I also, K-State, they play Iowa State. Like that quarterback for K-State, he's got half a passing yard. Like if you're going to sit down and you're going to watch a football game and you have an opportunity to put some extra money in your pocket, what I really love is you're going to sit there for 2, 3, 4 hours, however long you're doing it, and you're going to be so much more invested in that game. In today's day and age, it's really hard to entertain yourself for the price and also the ability to put money in your pocket. So again, this link's going to be available all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. I love Prize Picks. I think the nation, y'all are going to love Prize Picks as well. And you know what else I love? A good old-fashioned trade idea involving Anthony Richardson and I'm going to go with Aiden O'Connell, and this would be my offer to the Indianapolis Colts. Quite frankly, if they're moving on from Richardson, I actually think that Aiden O'Connell, low-key, would be a really good backup quarterback to Daniel Jones on that team. Full transparency, I do. And I saw some people offering, like my guy Goat, he was saying like a 3rd and a 4th round pick. That's a little bit too much for my blood. If Trey Lance went for a 4th round pick, I think that Lance, again, 49ers gave up 3 first-round picks for him. I think that you're going to see a deal somewhere in between what Trey Lance went for, a 4th-round pick, and then also a player like Joe Milton, who also is extremely, extremely athletic. So this would be my offer to Indy. And the reason why I'm willing to throw in a 5th-round pick is because the Raiders are going to get extra comp picks, and they're going to get an extra 5th-round comp pick. That 5th-round pick there, that's what that's going to be. That's either going to be the comp pick or it's going to be the 5th-round pick that we already have. But no matter what, we will still hold on to that 5th. And if you're swapping Richardson for Aiden O'Connell and then you're throwing in a 5th, to me personally, I think it's a good value here for the silver and black. But I want to know from all of y'all, who wins this trade? Type IND for the Indianapolis Colts. Or if you think it's the Las Vegas Raiders, I want you to type LV down below. Can't wait to see what your answers are. I'm going to sit up here and go, that's a win for both organizations. Because the moment you put Richardson on the bench, he's done in there. And that organization knows that this is probably their final year to put up or shut up, and it's not a great situation. I'm not going to deny it. And some people might not like giving up Aiden O'Connell and a 5th-round pick, but you have to understand what the plan is then. And the plan is, like, AOC doesn't have upside. Richardson has legit upside. It's just you're taking multiple years to develop that quarterback. I'll also say this, like, in terms of Richardson being a fit with the Raiders, and why you could also do it. I said it on the live show, and I'll say it again. When you make a trade for a player, you have to think also, like, could he help me out instantly? And I do think that Richardson could help out the Raiders instantly. And the way that I think he could help you out is he's the perfect quarterback for a tush push. And I know some people hate when I call it a tush push. People are like, oh, Mitch, it's a quarterback sneak. But he is a physical quarterback that you'd be able to put under center and really get that play mastered, because the Philadelphia Eagles have mastered it in being able to extend drives and knowing that you're going to get that first down on 4th and inches. It could be the difference between winning and losing. Go ask Josh Allen and the Bills why they didn't beat the Chiefs last year. They couldn't execute a tush push. Let's figure out a way to do it, and I think Richardson would be a player that could be his instant value right now, and that's a valuable role. Coming up next here on the show, we're going to get into Raiders training camp practice, and again, very light day at practice, no pads today. They were going through just, light work. It kind of reminded me, it's how I would explain it as, when you go like the first day of school, you show up, and yeah, you're at school, but you're not really doing anything. It's kind of like what today was. There was guys out there, again, they're going through the motions and whatnot, but it was a very light day at practice overall. In terms of some of the players that were healthy, that's kind of what I was looking for. There were 2 players that I was making sure were out there on the field today. The first one was Raheem Mostert. He was back at practice today. I talked about it yesterday on the program that but his daughter was dealing with something, so that was one of the reasons why he missed yesterday's practice. For Kai Blue Kelly, Kelly was another player that he missed yesterday's practice as well, and Kelly's been somebody that I've been wondering in terms of, are they going to be healthy? Are they going to be out there playing in that final preseason game? And Kai Blue was somebody that also was out there on the practice field today. So the fact that Kelly was out there practicing, the fact that Raheem Mostert was back out there practicing, that's a really good sign. Because to me, I sit back and I go, well, are those 2 players that are going to get some more run? So Raheem Mostert, back at practice today. Kai Blue Kelly, back at practice today. And then the way that they were using Kai Blue was they were using him a lot in the nickel. And the fact that they were using him in the nickel, they were also using him on the outside. If you're watching the cornerbacks this week, you got to watch where they're putting Kai Blue, where exactly they're putting Darian Porter, how is the Camry and Richardson lining up. Those are 3 corners I'm going to be looking at very, very closely. Also, Terrell Edmunds, he was getting a lot of work today at free safety, which, I like the idea of us rotating safeties, but I'll still say that Terrell Edmunds, makes me a little bit nervous at free safety. Isaiah Paul-Amal makes me a little bit nervous at free safety. But Edmunds, they want to use him in this Lonnie Johnson Jr. role while he's recovering from that injury that he sustained. But to me, those are the 5 biggest practice notes. And again, a lot of light work today. I don't have a lot of information on practice just because, again, of how light today ultimately went. If you do not know, we will be live for the NFL preseason Week 3 matchup. And if anybody is planning on going out to this football game, I just want to remind you of this. Tomorrow, I'm going to be out in Arizona. I'm not going to be in Glendale, but Glendale's about 2 hours from Tucson, and I'm going to be at a restaurant called Desert Shark Tucson, owned and operated by the absolute legend, the Night Devil, a.k.a. Fabian Moreno, and I'm going to be there from 12 to 3, and then after, I'm going to be at Culinary Dropout right next to it. If you're looking for more information on raffles, if you're looking for more information on some of the prizes, some of the giveaways, make sure you follow them and DM them on Instagram at Desert Shark Tucson. There's the address. Let's talk Raiders. Let's have some food. Let's have some beers. Let's have a good time. We've made it. It's been a hell of an offseason. We are so close to Raiders regular season football. And when I get opportunities to shake hands with the nation, the people that take time out of their day to watch this show, I'm fired up about it. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. And I hope that you guys show up tomorrow and really rally. Let's go to my man, Miggy Camacho. What up, Mig? Mitch, Chugs, cheers. Is Lalu playing Saturday? I would imagine. And, one of the things that I respect about Pete is he's always the guys are going to be ready to play. And he's making it sound like anybody could potentially play. And I will give NFL teams a little bit of credit here because I feel like this preseason, the 3rd preseason game, you're hearing a lot of teams playing more of their starters in that 3rd preseason game than what we saw last season. And, back in the old days, when I say old days, when there used to be 4 preseason games, that 3rd preseason game was the one that you typically saw more of the starters go out there and kind of get more reps. And then the 4th game was nothing. Well, now the 3rd game has been the one that really hasn't been as much people playing. But for the Raiders, it sounds like that they're still going to roll with some of those guys out there. And I anticipate that John Olalu is going to be out there. To me, the only defensive tackle that if they looked at me and they said, hey, I'd like a break would be Adam Butler. He's a veteran. I know what I'm going to get out of Butler. The other player that I'll be curious to see if he plays or not is Tyree Wilson, because Wilson's been an absolute dog this offseason.
Anthony Richardson loves breaks.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson, that's true. I remember when Richardson did not want to play on that third down. It was like the biggest play of the game, and I hated it. It drove me absolutely up a wall. Oh, boy. Speaking of going up a wall, Patrick Rose! Bang! From the top row, which also means another hat going to Tucson tomorrow for a Raiders fan. Is there a good way to have a good season and get a good quarterback in the draft lineup?
This next year, yes. I was looking at it with Joey, who does our Vols channel. He's one of the bigger college football guys here. He did a video, and I would actually recommend you go and check it out on our Main Chat Sports YouTube channel. He did a video today of top 10 Heisman odds, basically, for this season for college football. A lot of good quarterbacks coming out next year, even without Arch, because everybody only talks about Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Cade Klubnik from Clemson, Drew Aller from Penn State, Lenoris Sellers from South Carolina. There's a lot of good quarterbacks that could enter the draft this year. I think this year's quarterback class is going to easily be way better than this past year. So the 2026 draft is going to be way better for quarterbacks than the 2025, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'll also say this, look at Lamar Jackson, right? Drafted much later. Patrick Mahomes drafted 10th overall. I think sometimes when we don't want to admit it, we don't want to just say it out loud. Fit is such an important thing. Having the right people around you, having the right pieces around you, right? Like look at the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears have never had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards.
Sam Levitt, Arizona State.
Statement.
I'm just looking at Field Yates also did a mock draft for the 2026 NFL draft on ESPN.
Yep.
He has a ton of quarterbacks going early. He has obviously Arch Manning. Like I said, Lenoris Sellers, Cade Klubnik. He has Sam Levitt, Drew Aller. That's not even with me mentioning Nussmeier out of LSU.
The Nuss Bus.
He's looked really good as well. So there's a lot of quarterbacks that could be in play in this next year's draft.
Sean Morgan, you in. $20 Venmo as it stands right now would give you an opportunity to win $90 on the show. But with a bang, we got to go to the bang wheel. Every bang today, we go to the bang wheel. And there's going to be opportunities for some people to chug some beers with me. It is happy hour after all. All right, this one for you, Mr. Roche, is IG FaceTime, beer bong, or shot. So here's going to be the game. If y'all want an opportunity to throw a beer back, I'm going to give y'all 60 seconds to give me a call on Instagram. I am at Mitchell Renz 365. If anybody's down to do one, let's get one going right now. I'm going to give you guys some time. If anybody wants to hit me up again, I am at Mitchell Renz 365. If y'all want, I can put this link for y'all down in the comments of the show. Hit me up. Who's ready to go? I told y'all we were going to do more stuff like this. I had a few members of Mount Raidermore also tell me, hey, man, love the fact that you were doing it. So we're going to keep it rolling. I'm going to refresh my phone. I'm going to wait around here for, like I said, a few seconds. I know it's not easy for everybody to be able to do it all the time, but I do want to give more opportunities for it. All right, I got one here. What's going on? I got one. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you tuning in. What's the name? Give us a shout out. I'm gonna hand you over to Chugs once he's set up. Michael Macias.
Are we sure?
I don't know. He's like, I had to think about it there for a second.
It's like, I'm Michael Macias?
There you go, Mike. I'm going to hand you over to Chugs. If you just want to say what's up, We're just getting our green screen set up over here. Appreciate you tuning in, brother. Here. What's up? What do we got?
What up? What up? All right, here we go. I'm going to put you on the fan cam.
You ready, Mike? Cheers, brother. When you go, I go. Pour it up, pour it up. Watch Michael all fall out. Pour it up, pour it up. Yo, let's get some mics down in the comment section. Let's go. Mike said, all right, I got a call. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Whenever you're ready, buddy.
All right. Here we go.
That's a badass glass. That's a badass glass.
What is that?
Looks like a chalice.
I mean, that looks like something straight out of medieval times. That looks like something where he doesn't use a fork or a knife.
Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go.
Born Viking. Mike, appreciate you, dude. Hey, we're going to have more opportunities to do this, and if nobody else calls, we keep doing this. Appreciate you, brother. Shout out to Mike for pulling up here and taking one down on the Raiders Report. It is Thursday happy hour, and every time somebody bangs today, we're going to spin the wheel. Either I'm doing one or y'all are doing one with me. Shout out again to Patrick Roche. Shout out to Patrick B for pulling up here today. But my man Roche is leading the charge for our bang race competition. Let's go, Born a Raiders fan. Raiders receive Trey Hendrickson. Bengals receive a second-round pick. A conditional fourth becomes a third if Hendrickson has 10-plus sacks. I'll say this. I think it's actually a very interesting trade idea. And if you were to tell me, like for me, I don't want to give up this much for the Raiders. Like, to me, the Raiders have too many other holes on their team to do this. Like, if we were one player away, you know what? Sure, let's go do it. Let's go chase that Super Bowl. But to me, we're also still trying to build for the future. And because we're trying to build for the future, I don't want to give up, too much draft capital. But at the same time, Cincinnati's not going to get a first-round pick. Like, they're just not going to get a first-round pick, right? It's not going to happen. So I think with a realistic trade idea, I actually think that this is a very realistic trade idea for what the Bengals could potentially get. Not necessarily from the Raiders, but there could be another team out there that's willing to do this, where essentially you're giving up a second and a fourth, and if he ends up going out there, proving that he's healthy, gets 10-plus sacks, it turns into a third-round pick. I actually think that this is a very realistic and a well-thought-out trade, which, shout out to you, I'll tip the cap to you, because typically we don't always get maybe the best trade ideas, though some of the reports that have come out in terms of like what the Bengals are looking for, apparently the Bengals are looking for a young player and a first-round pick, and then maybe even more than that. It's not going to happen. Like, I would say something along this is probably the right price tag of what Cincinnati is going to get if they ultimately get a deal done. Let's go to John Rodriguez. What up, John? Again, John, born a Raider fan. Cheers to all y'all tuning in. Happy hour.
Here we go. Keep a close eye on Cleveland. They won't keep 4 quarterbacks, so take either one that gets cut.
Well, what's funny is actually it's been reported the exact opposite of this. I believe it was reported yesterday that the Browns are okay with the idea of keeping 4 quarterbacks. Now, this is also primetime smoke season, right? Like, if you're the Browns, you're not putting out a report that says, we're probably going to cut one of our guys, right? Like, you're not going to do that. If you're the Browns, you're going to report out, we are going to keep all 4 of our quarterbacks. I don't disagree that one of those guys could get cut, but at the same time, I'm not the biggest Dylan Gabriel fan. I'm not the biggest Shedeur Sanders fan. Kenny Pickett, I don't know what the hell is going on there, but I think if you're the Browns, you keep Shedeur Sanders. Like if I was the Browns, I would keep Shedeur Sanders, because if they cut him, they're going to get a bunch of backlash. And right now, I think the Browns have gotten so much backlash from the Deshaun Watson situation, from the Quinshon Judkins situation, from the Isaiah Bond situation, and that's an organization that they need to be able to, keep some people happy. And Shedeur Sanders is going to be able to keep people happy. He's also going to sell tickets in a year that, do you think they're going to be good? I don't think they're going to be very good. And Dylan Gabriel ain't selling tickets. Shedeur Sanders will sell tickets, and I think he'll make that organization money. And if I was the Browns and I gave Deshaun Watson $230 million fully guaranteed, I would try to make as much money as humanly possible. But at the exact same time, I don't see the Raiders adding any quarterbacks to this team. Like, if the Raiders add a QB to this roster, it's probably via a trade, and it probably involves the Raiders trading away Aiden O'Connell. Let's go to... I'm going to be honest, dude. I have no idea. Kamarf? I just haven't seen that many vowels next to each other. Kamarf, you got to help me out here, dude. I don't want to look like a total dick every time I come up here. I appreciate
it's like at the beginning of Moana where it's like, K-my-a.
I don't even remember that.
When's the last time you saw Moana?
Wait, Moana? Is that like the Disney? Oh, I'm thinking of Mulan. Very different.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Ozzy and Black Sabbath.
Yep.
What's up, dude? Rewatch the Chiefs Xmas Day game from the 23rd. AOC has regressed. I mean, was Aiden like really good in that game though? I think one of the problems that Raiders fans had with 2023 is Aiden really wasn't all that good in 2023. He wasn't. Like, has he regressed? Yes. But there's never been a point where, for me personally, where I've gone, Aiden O'Connell can be an everyday starting quarterback. Yeah, he was our QB last season because, again, Gardner Minshew AOC was a bad situation. But the Raiders' defense in the back half of the year of 2023, we were giving up 15.3 points per game. At the time, that was the best scoring defense in the National Football League. We were winning games because of our defense. You know, we weren't winning games because of Aiden O'Connell. And I've gone back. I've watched a lot of AOC tape, and I think AOC is what he is. And I love that fans, kind of rally behind certain guys, and Aiden is the player. He's such an easy person to root for. He is a hard worker. He's always been doubted, and he's just somebody that has proven a lot of people wrong. I guarantee you nobody thought he was going to get drafted, right? But, like many years ago, we knew he was going to get drafted when he ended up getting drafted. But I'm saying, like, he's the type of quarterback where you go to Purdue and you're the 8th-string quarterback of Purdue. If you say the 8th-string quarterback of Purdue is going to get drafted, you're probably going to get laughed at. But I think Aiden is exactly what Aiden O'Connell is. And we just got to be able to accept it. We got to be able to move on. And what I'm happy about is we finally have a quarterback that's a legit quarterback. We finally have a dude that's going to give us an opportunity to win every game we step out there on the field. And that just hasn't been the case for a very, very long time. All right, we are all caught up on Super Chats, which, again, if you're trying to get into the duck race, it is a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. I am looking right now. I believe the last person that got in, I have Sean Morgan, and then I see Richard Engel, $20 Venmo right now. You have an opportunity to go home with 100 doll hairs. 100 doll hairs. What up, Jeff? That just shows you how hard it is to be a GM these days. I mean, being a GM is tough. Being a GM takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of research, but it's also you got to know your team. And
what do you think? Somebody who works power lines could go be a GM, or somebody who's a GM could go work power lines? Give me the power line worker being a GM.
Oh, man. I think both are hard. Dude, working on power lines.
Which one's harder?
In all honesty, probably working on power lines.
That's what I'm saying.
It's dangerous. It's a very dangerous job. Very, very dangerous job. But at the same time, like, I know some people might think that this is a crazy statement. I do think I could be a GM for the Raiders. And I also believe in myself, and, like, I hope everybody, whatever you do with your life, you believe in yourself.
Jeff,
but I also know this team like the back of my hand.
I very much so disagree. He said it's hard working the power lines, but you don't have to use your brain. I feel like you have to use your brain or you might die.
Bro, I'll tell you this right now.
If you're not thinking up there, one wrong move and you're done.
Yeah, power lines also are very tricky in other countries. We're actually one of the only countries, well, I shouldn't say one of the only countries. I remember when I moved to Germany for a year and I lived over there, and I remember thinking to myself, where are all the power lines? And they're like, oh, they're underground, which makes a lot of sense because, power lines fall down here in the U.S. a lot and creates some issues. There's also wind. When I was in Germany, I was like, there's no power lines
Omar
anywhere.
said, as a power line worker myself, I will say it's much harder being a power line worker.
I'm telling you right now, it's probably one of the most underappreciated jobs in the United States. You know your cell phone? You know how a lot of things work? Power lines do a lot of stuff, and Danville, Pennsylvania is not known for many things.
Jeff
Danville,
Eleptic,
Pennsylvania is known for its...
Jeff Eleptic, I hear you, but if you were the GM, you probably wouldn't have taken Alex Leatherwood in round 1.
I hope not.
I mean, there you go. Easy decision for you.
And that's the other part where, with all due respect to the past GMs, past people that have ran this Raiders team, I would not have... I know for a fact the Raiders would be a better team if I was GM. And that's not me trying to be ridiculous. You guys could probably say the exact same thing. Like, I guarantee this. Would never have taken Jonathan Abram in round 1. Definitely wouldn't have taken Damon Arnett in round 1. Henry Ruggs, I'll be honest, I would have taken CeeDee Lamb instead. People who watch this show know that. I would have taken Christian Darrisaw over Alex Leatherwood. That's a cold, hard fact. Like, the list goes on and on, right? We don't need to sit up here and talk about what could have been, what isn't, but
hell,
I would not have taken Cleveland
so
Ferrell
much
number
so
4.
with being an NFL GM, you go back to the Hard Knocks with the New York Giants. Joe Shane's son was telling him, yo, we should not have Daniel Jones as our quarterback. You need to try to get Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix. And he was right.
Yeah,
the son was right.
I'll say this, and I've learned this in my time doing this show. Head coaches, GMs, they're like normal people, and they create relationships, and they fall in love with certain guys. You get to know families. It's hard to make those difficult decisions, and you start to see the best in certain people.
Jeff, what are we talking? We're talking in the draft. What do you mean there's so much money tied into it?
Yeah, I don't know. Jeff, I don't know where you're going here, man. All right, we got Gilbert. You're getting in this one. I see you in. Gilbert Moreno, Soldier Man.
If you think the NFL GMs are the ones that are balancing the books for this team, you are sadly mistaken. There are multiple guys underneath the GMs who are doing that job for him. You think Spytech is in there with his abacus making sure the Raiders' books are balanced? No.
Yeah, the guy who does all the Raiders contracts, does all the, I shouldn't say all, but most of the money. His name is Tom Delaney. And Tom, from what I understand, is one of the best guys in the NFL in terms of structuring contracts and, just doing a lot of that back-end stuff. I mean, it's you have so many people in the front office. You have so many people a part of an organization. John Spytek's job, I think, is to build the team and be the overseer. But at the same time, I do. I think I could be the GM of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Devin White.
I'm not afraid to admit it. Oh, shit. What up, White? Driving from Scottsdale down to Tucson tomorrow. Hell freaking yeah, man. Happy to see the Raiders Sport fam and going to the game Saturday. Raiders. Calling a wild card upset win this season along with Offensive Rookie of the Year. So Offensive Rookie of the Year has got to be Ashton Genty.
Or Caleb Rogers. Jack Besh. Or Dante Thornton Jr.
I mean, for Dante Thornton Jr. to win Offensive Rookie of the Year,
he'll have to be doing the co-butter.
Yes. We will see the co-butter touchdown celebration if Dante Thornton Jr. wins it. I'll say this, wild card upset, I want to be able to sit up here and say that obviously I want the Raiders to make the playoffs, but it's hard to be Raiders fan and Raiders Report host because we're not a playoff caliber team right now with the defense that we have, and it's just the cold hard fact. Like, I think that we have a top 10 offense. I will say it again and again. I think we have a legit top 10 offense. Our defense, though, it's worrisome. And maybe, once we start getting a little bit more continuity, maybe the Raiders are truly, truly playing vanilla.
Wow.
But I'm somebody where I always say this on this show. I write down notes. I write down things that happen year after year after year because, crazy enough, I'm getting ready to go on my 8th year here at Chat Sports. In a few weeks, I will be here 8 years. And I write down notes. And my notes in regards to like Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, just based on my confidence, right? Confidence. Like, we were Raider fans. Were you honestly confident in Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew last year? No. But, we're like, you're hoping. And that's what Raider fans do, man. We are ultimate hopers. And we were hoping. That's kind of how I feel with this secondary, where I look at it and I'm like, dude, it's an Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew secondary. You can hope, and I'm going to hope the shit out of it. But at the exact same time, you look at it and you go, it's going to be a problem. And our defense is going to be a problem to me this upcoming season.
Big college football news.
Uh-oh.
The SEC has just announced, instead of playing 8 SEC games in a college football season, they are bumping it up to 9. Now, instead of playing against Lamar State and Tennessee Tech United, whatever random FCS school they play, now it looks like they're adding one more SEC game to their slate.
Devin Smith, the Bengals don't have defense either, Mitch, but they got a high-powered offense, and they'll probably still be a playoff team. I mean, the Bengals' defense was worse the Bengals' defense is worse now than it was last year, and we also don't have an offense like Cincinnati. We don't, right? Like, I want to be able to sit up here and say we have an offense as good as the Cincinnati
Joe Burrow
Bengals.
is a top 3 quarterback.
He's definitely up there. I mean, I love Joe Burrow. I think he is. He's probably my favorite quarterback in the NFL, not named Geno Smith. And I'll ride with Geno. Geno's my guy, but Burrow is a competitor. You got to be able to respect that. Darian, cheers to you. Also, again, appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning in to the Raiders Report. D. White, cheers, brother.
I literally just landed from my flight and hopped in to listen to the Raiders Report. Love all y'all guys. All Diddy.
That's a hell of a statement, especially the ending there. But you know what? I love that statement there, and because I'll always say this, this is a show that, again, it proves to me that we're so much more than a YouTube community. If you can't joke like this with me and Chugs, we're not close enough friends, right? Like, this is a statement that I would say to any of my friends in person, like joking around, and that's why I love doing this show. I love doing this show because it's just a bunch of people hanging out, having some good time, having some conversation, and the fact that there's 712 people watching this show right now, it means a lot. And I am super, super excited about going out to Tucson, Arizona tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of people there. I have heard there is going to be a lot of people there. So much so that my boss was like, do I need to get you a security guard, or like, do I have to get you a body protector? And I was like,
we said, Miggy's going to be out there. So
if Miggy's going to be out there, I'm going to be good. If Miggy's out there, I'm
good.
The Night Devil tossing one up. Can't wait to party with the nation. Also, Mitch, tomorrow, cheers to you. But today, it's a Devil toss-up to the basket. Who's got me? The Devil. So for those of you that do not know, Fabian Moreno, a.k.a. the Night Devil, is the reason why I am going out to Tucson tomorrow. And, I can't wait, man. I am really, really excited. Chugs, Jeremy Cole said, Chugs, I'll be there. All right, I'm good then. Jeremy Cole, he's got some military background, so I'm all straight. I'll be taken care of. Oh, yeah.
Good thing to know you're all straight and you'll be taken care of.
All right, relax. Relax. Everyone relax. Somebody's got to throw this one down for the Night Devil. Somebody's got to do it. When somebody does it, I'm throwing this one down for the Night Devil. Coming up next here on the show, we are going to get into a Raiders Cardinals preview. And it's going to be fun, man. We're going to get into a preview. I'm going to tell you everything that there is to watch for. Again, because Pete hasn't given us too much information, it's hard to really, truly know how much snaps guys are going to get. But I'll always illustrate which names I'm looking at, which players that y'all should be looking at, which position groups have the most to prove. It's going to be something. Lamont, would you rather trade for Trey Hendrickson or Micah Parsons? Micah Parsons is clearly the better player. But if you want Micah Parsons, are you willing to give up, let's say, 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, a Tyree Wilson, and, I don't know, probably something else? To me, I'm not. And, again, if we were a defensive end away from winning the Super Bowl, that's a trade that you make. And there's some teams where that's worth it. But we also then have to go out and pay Micah $42 million per year, and I just don't think it helps us build for the future. So, in all honesty, I would rather trade for Trey Hendrickson based on the price tag. Night Devil! And Rabbits! Bang! Slam that devil. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Chugs, he is top 10, not 3.
Oh, I disagree. I think he's closer to top 3 than he is to top 10.
I agree with that statement. Like, to me, Joe Burrow is a no-doubt top 5 quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Like, to me, like, there is
I don't think
Patrick
you can
Mahomes,
name 5 quarterbacks better than him.
No, I agree. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. To me, there is a no-doubt top 4.
Yes.
Like, you could, could Jaden Daniels be better? Absolutely.
Not right now. Like, could he be? Yes.
Could he be better?
Like, right now, if I'm starting a team, I'm taking Joe Burrow over Jaden Daniels. If we're not talking contract. If
okay.
The contracts are the same.
I'll say this. I would entertain the idea around Jaden because I do think Jaden's going to be special. And Burrow has had some injury issues. But, like, to win a game, I'll take Joe Burrow over Jaden Daniels. I'll take Joe Burrow over Josh Allen to win a game. Like, I think one of the best parts about Joe Burrow is he's got that Tom Brady factor in him where doesn't get phased, dude's a competitor, and you got to respect that. And it's like Mahomes, I know he had a bad year last season statistically, but at the end of the day, I want a quarterback where the game's on the line, you look in that huddle, and they're going to look at that quarterback, that leader, and you need everybody to be confident in him. And not every quarterback has that, mentality. Like, I used to always say it about Derek. Derek's super great guy, super nice guy, doesn't have that killer mentality. Y'all remember that quarterback show? Like, we were kind of joking about it with Marcus Mariota, but, like Mariota, when he would get in that huddle, you could tell that he wasn't very confident in what he's doing. And imagine it's the 2-minute warning here. We got to go down and we got to get a touchdown drive. Joe Burrow's going to look at you and he's going to go, we're going to score here. We're going to win this football game. Marcus Mariota's like, all right, guys, let's all do a really good job here. Let's make sure that this is a good play. Right? Like, it's a lot different. But I think Joe Burrow is a no doubt top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Question to all y'all. Is Joe Burrow a top 5 quarterback in the NFL? Give me a yes. Give me a no. I think it's a yes.
I think most Raider fans in the chat right now would give their left pinky finger for Joe Burrow to be the starter for the Las Vegas Raiders.
I don't really use it.
If I told you right now Joe Burrow could be the quarterback for the Raiders for the next 10 years, would you give your left pinky?
In a heartbeat. And also the reason why I would do it is because my dad also cut off his left pinky. It'd be pretty sick if we both.
It runs in the family.
It'd be pretty sick if we both had it. Though he's got 9.5 fingers. He's got 9.5. I would.
I'm talking. You're just at the nub. You just got to cut off at the nub.
Oh yeah, that's Richie. Richie has the world's smallest.
Well, Rich,
fingernail on his pinky.
See, Richie, it's not fair for you because you already have it, so you don't have it to give away.
He might actually be saying it's on his right hand.
Oh. Well, then you just would it just be 9 in total then?
What?
For Richie, because you'd have 8 fingers and then 2 halves. So 9.
Yeah, I guess it would be 9. Dad, is it right hand or left hand? I don't remember. Hearing the story.
K Smooth said I'd give all the pinkies.
I mean, imagine cutting off your fingers. I mean, that's terrible.
Lamont, could we trade for any O-line in the last year of their contracts?
Could we? Sure. But I don't really think it makes sense. And the reason why I don't think it makes sense is because you kind of already have a player like that on your roster, and his name's Dylan Parham. And, we got to give Parham some credit. He looks a lot better. He looks a lot more physical. He looks a lot more comfortable this season. And I've always been a Dylan Parham fan. You go back and you look at when the Raiders drafted him out of Memphis, I sat up here and I was fired up for that pick because I've always liked his ability to process information. He looks stronger. He looks a lot more ready to go. And he looks really good this offseason. So instead of trading for a guy in the last year of their contract, I think what you do is you evaluate what you have in Parham, and if that's somebody that you believe in after the season, you extend him and you give him some money because he could play multiple positions on an offensive line. That's very valuable. I thought Parham was going to be the center of our future, and now he's playing left guard. He's playing a little bit of right guard, so you have somebody that you could put there. If that you also end up keeping a Jordan Meredith, and then I think what it also helps you do is if Parham doesn't have a good year and you want to keep Meredith at center, well, then you could put JPJ over there. So I don't – the answer is technically yes, but I think the smarter thing is just evaluate Dylan Parham and see, is that a guy that you go ahead and extend? What up, Tom? Have a great time. Be safe. Can't wait to hear about it on Saturday. Dude, it's going to be a blast. And, again, I am going to be documenting a lot of stuff. I'm going to be putting videos out. We're going to be making some shorts. So if anybody wants to get on the Raiders Report YouTube channel tomorrow, pull up Desert Shark Tucson. Iron Raider! Bang!
Bang, bang, bang. Bang, 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 bang.
Bang. I love that, actually. Every time Iron Raider bangs, we're doing that. Every time. I know it's just the preseason. Also, I need a bang wheel spin, but it would be real nice to finish up by smashing the Cards. Wish the game was happening tomorrow. Joe Burrow is the top 5. Here's my pinky. He's just like, what? You're pretty good at that, aren't you? The pinky trick? I can't do it right now because I'm looking at myself. I feel like I'm like looking at a mirror. Oh. See, to me, I don't really care whether or not we win or lose tomorrow. And I say that because I felt so much better after the game that we lost to the 49ers compared to the game that we tied with Seattle. And it's because I want to make sure our starters and certain players are playing at a certain level. And that's the hope. Like, you just want to feel confident about what you see in a preseason game. You just want to feel like, all right, we're moving in the right direction. And I felt like we were moving in the right direction in that 49ers game where, after the Seahawks game, I was very, very, very nervous. All right. Boop. Here we go. If it lands on IG, somebody give me a call. Well, unfortunately, I think you're getting an extra bang here, Iron Raider. And an extra bang for Mr.
Just free bangs. It's like bang miss.
Bang miss, bang miss. Also, another hat going to Tucson, Arizona.
Let's see.
Another one.
Lamont says if Ginty only has 800 yards this season, is he a bust?
He got hurt. There's the only way with our running back room, Ashton Ginty has 800 rushing yards. He got hurt.
He played 16 games and has 800 yards.
16 games, 800 yards. I mean, he's going to get 200. Unless our defense is that flippin' bad where we just can't run the football and we have to throw it that much. To me, though, 800 yards is I don't even think it's a possibility because he's going to get 250 carries this season. He's gonna. And 250 carries for somebody as talented as Ashton Ginty, even if your offensive line is absolute booty cheeks, he's gonna like in my mind, he's gonna average 3.6 yards per carry, which is what the Raiders averaged last season. I don't see a world like, to me, 1,000 yards is a legitimate benchmark where if you're an NFL team and you draft a running back at number 6 overall, they better get 1,000 rushing yards. And I'm not saying that's all on Ginty because it's not. Like, I forget who it was on Twitter. Somebody was like, is Ashton Ginty a top 5 running back? I think he's a top 5 running back right now. The question is going to be, does he have top 5 running back numbers, which is going to be more on the offensive line, the pieces around him, kind of the situation of how a game unfolds. But 800 yards, he got hurt. And if he gets hurt, our other running back situation is a very, very concerning one.
We should get Indy QB Zach. I don't think Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's with the Dolphins.
I was going to say, yeah, he's definitely with the Dolphins.
And apparently he's looked really bad.
Zach Wilson? I mean, I think the Miami, we used to ask this question a lot during our interview process. It was like, who's the first head coach that gets fired this season? My answer is Mike McDonald. Why do I keep saying Mike McDonald? Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins head coach. He's somebody where when he first got to Miami, it was fun, it was trendy. Now I feel like that they're a soft football team that doesn't look very good.
Yeah.
If you talk to certain people in the office, they have the best defense in the NFL. Or what? Best edge rushers, whatever it was. What up, Rebel?
Oh, no, it was our Dolphins host was trying to tell us the Dolphins have a generational pass rush this year, a top 10 all-time in the NFL.
That's just wild. Marsh said AOC is better than DeVito. Trade maybe. I don't want Tommy DeVito. And I agree. Aiden O'Connell is better than Tommy Cutlets. Suave, if our offensive line had Mitch and Chug's chemistry, we'd be top 5 in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'm not going to disagree with that. I've seen Chugs move some people. I'll also say this. When we play pool basketball as a company, we played pool basketball the other day at our boss's house, James. We were doing 4-on-4. I'm going to be honest with you. If we had a chat sports team, I think Chugs and I are both playing offensive line. Or I would play defensive tackle. And again, now I'm working with a bunch of younger guys. They're young dudes. They're a little frail. I'm not saying I'm a big guy, but Chugs and I, we're moving people here at Chat Sports. We're going to be a part of the line. We're going to be in the trenches.
Oh yeah.
I also don't move well like I used to. I used to actually be pretty fast. Not as fast as my dad. My dad would call me slow. But
I think right now, if we had to make a Chat Sports offensive line, I'd probably play center.
I'm fine with that. I'm not playing tackle. I'm not quick enough to play tackle.
I think I'm center. New Will is left tackle.
Yep, that's smart. Well,
we got Harrison Graham right tackle.
Is he quick enough?
I think so.
Harry, I'm not doubting you. Harry's probably got to be
Cullen right guard.
Where does that put me? Maybe I'll play fullback.
Yeah.
I'll play fullback.
And then we'll probably go
I feel like Trace has got to play on the line. Didn't Trace play offensive line?
We'll go Coop pulling guard because he could pull left or right. You don't know which way he's going.
Coop's that new what's that Hummer, the crab? I owe this one also from earlier. Again, Iron Raider. Cheers to you, brother.
This one coming from Ryan Campbell. Start bench cut, college edition.
What was that?
McCaffrey. So you're saying these guys in college?
Sounds like Jim Jeffries over here.
McCaffrey, Etienne, Dalvin Cook.
All right, so this is fantasy? Or
are you talking about them in college?
Oh, if you're talking about them in college, so Christian McCaffrey at Stanford, Travis Etienne at Clemson, Dalvin Cook at Florida State. What app is the fantasy league going to be on? I typically like to do Sleeper. I'm going to put a group chat together, Ryan. Excuse me, and we'll put it together either on Instagram or personally, I think Instagram would be the best for me. And we'll kind of decide as a group like what to do. But I'm a big Sleeper fan. I am very loyal to Sleeper. They have been great to me. I used to do pros versus Joes leagues with them way back in the day when I would do a lot of fantasy football content. And Sleeper they've always done right by me. So I'm personally a big Sleeper fan. You can also customize a lot of different things. But if I got to start, bench, or cut, I'm starting Christian McCaffrey because I don't think people realize or remember how he was unbelievable. Special teams, he was the white Reggie Bush. I mean, he was unbelievable. Special teams, running back, he was a game changer. That's why he went, I think, 7th overall to Carolina. And then Travis Etienne and Dalvin Cook. Back in the day, I was very, very big on Dalvin Cook's not going to be a first-round pick, and I wish I could find the guy who worked for Florida State media because I actually have it. I have the message, but I don't know if he doesn't work there anymore or what, but there was a guy from Florida State media probably about 10 years ago because I said Dalvin Cook won't get drafted in the first round, and he was like, this is why you're never going to make it in the sports industry, and I'm not going to lie to you, it motivated me. It was put it on the wall type of material, and I'm not going to mention that guy's name because I am way more popular than you will ever be. But at the exact same time, I was big on Dalvin's not going to go in round 1. I'm probably going to go with Dalvin Cook, though, as I'm going to bench him, and I'm going to cut Travis Etienne. Etienne was special, but that Clemson team I thought was elite, which made him a lot better. So start McCaffrey. I'm going to bench Dalvin Cook, and I'm going to cut Travis Etienne based on their products in college. Let's go to Patrick B. Mount Raidermore. What up, Patrick? Appreciate you. I know Jacoby is upset at the moment, but I am not against getting a true wide receiver 1. Jacoby is a top 3 wide receiver 2. I don't know if that's true, and I only say it because it depends how you look at a wide receiver 2, right? I bet you that there are other teams in the NFL that have a better, real quick. NFL, let me look up here. Off the top of my head. Depth chart by position. All right, is he the best number 2 receiver on the Bills? In my opinion, yes. On the Dolphins, no. On the Patriots, yes. On the Jets, yes. Ravens, yes. Bengals, no. Browns, yes. Steelers, yes. Texans, I would say no, honestly, because I think Jacoby's better than Kirk, and I think Jacoby's better than Jaden Higgins now, but I would rather have Jaden Higgins over Jacoby Myers for the long haul. I'm a big Jaden guy. Colts, yes. I would say Jags, I think he's better than Travis Hunter is at receiver.
Top 3, no, but is he? Just because there's a couple
I think he's
really
one
good
of the most
ones.
underappreciated receivers in the NFL.
Because like you said, Devontae Smith, probably not.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin, when healthy, probably not.
T. Higgins, no. Is
Jordan Addison.
I would take Jacoby over Addison, personally. I would. Chugs would not. That's okay.
I don't know.
I think Jordan Addison is a good receiver. I think it's also like, what is your team? Like, Addison don't block the way Jacoby blocks.
Yeah.
But also, Addison's a really good field stretcher. He offers you more in that game where Jacoby's not a field stretcher. Let's go to Lamont. If we get top 10 pick this year, do we get a new quarterback 1? No. I don't think so. And I think the Raiders are going to be committed to Geno Smith. I think you're getting 2 years of Geno Smith. Unless Geno is an absolute disaster, and, maybe that puts us in that realm. But to me, I don't think Geno is going to be a disaster. I think he's going to be good. If we finish in the top 10, it's because our defense was bad. And I think then we look to build either in the trenches or we look to build that defense. And like a guy like Caleb Downs is going to be somebody that I watch very closely this year. Because again, to me, safety is a need. We need cornerback help. Now, Downs is probably a little bit more of a strong safety in the NFL.
The only reason I say yes to this is because if you have a top 10 pick, you have to think this year's quarterback class is really, really strong. You don't know if that'll be the same case the year after. So if you have a top 10 pick and with a guy like Geno where you're like, okay, we have 2 more years of him.
Sure.
And you're like, okay, we take a guy this year. He sits behind Geno. Final year of Geno's contract after this guy's rookie season. Either we, turn it over to the new guy, or if Geno plays well, we let him play 1 more year.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it depends on who's available, what's available. I'm just very confident, I guess, in Geno Smith. Like, in my mind, if we're top 10 pick, Geno Smith's not the problem. To me, it's other things happen to get us there. So I think the Raiders are confident in Geno. I'll go no, though. Let's go to Born a Raiders fan. Got a few more super chats coming in here. LV gets Parsons. Cowboys get Tyree. A first-round pick.
You know what? This is what we're going to do. Because these are a lot of really good questions.
I think we put these in the mailbag.
Let's do this segment really quick. We're going to go over the Raiders depth charts. These are all actually really good segments for the mailbag coming up.
Okay. I like it. So we got a lot of good questions here. So we still got 2 segments to get to here on the show. The first one we're going to do is the most important things to watch for in that Raiders preseason game up against the Cardinals. And then we're going to get into that mailbag. I'm going to be live here for another about 55 minutes. Again, I got to try to get out of here by 5:30. Alex and I have plans because I'm going to be in Tucson tomorrow, so tonight's a date night, which I hope you guys understand.
Or we could do the mailbag first and this after.
Let's just do this one because then more questions can come in.
Okay.
Sorry, Reb. I saw mailbag time. We're going to do the what to watch for, essentially, for the Raiders and Cardinals game. Reminder, if anybody's trying to get into our duck race, it's a $20 Venmo. Right now, you'd have an opportunity to win $140. I'm going to refresh my phone real quick. And now I am looking at Robert Boone in. Soldier Man in. 20 to win. 160 as it stands right now. You ready to go? Y'all ready to go? Coming up, let's talk about Raiders, Cardinals, preseason preview, then a mailbag, and then we're going to put a bow on this show. Raider Nation, my name is Mitchell Renz. Y'all are watching the Raiders Report. Coming up here on today's show, I'm going to give you a Raiders Cardinals Week 3 preseason preview. If you're wondering, Mitch, what the heck should I watch for from a silver and black standpoint? I'm going to tell you, guys to watch on offense, guys to watch on defense. What are the top position battles to keep a close eye on? Now, I'll say this. Pete's made it a little bit difficult on me because Pete's saying, hey, anybody can go out there and play. That's the compete mentality. And if y'all are trying to compete on Saturday, I hope that you pull up to the Raiders Report. We have been the #1 most watched Raiders watch party for game day. I'm going to say 7 straight flipping years doing this thing. We had over 100,000 people watch last week. We had over 100,000 people watch the week 1. And if I'm trying to get to 100,000 again, I'm going to need the whole nation to combine. So hit that subscribe button. Make sure those notifications are turned on. And make sure you pull up to the Raiders Report on game day because we're going to be going live 2 hours before kickoff. It's going to be a late night. And I hope that you celebrate that late night with us here. So how we're going to do this is we're going to go through position by position. Typically what we've been doing here on this program during our previews. And I'm going to start at the quarterback position. And the quarterback position, obviously if Geno Smith's out there, your eyes should be on him. He was a lot better last week, I thought, in terms of just getting some extra reps in there. 6 of 8, missed 2 deep shots to Dante Thornton Jr. But in all honesty, all eyes are going to be on Aiden O'Connell. And all eyes are going to be on Cam Miller and that quarterback battle because AOC's got to play better. And Aiden knows it. He needs to play faster. He's got to get the plays in. Pete Carroll wants to see him potentially even use his legs from time to time. But 3 interceptions this preseason, not great. Cam Miller does have a shot to be able to take this team's job. And for AOC, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. The completion percentage somewhere around 62%. But it's been a uphill battle for Aiden. And it's been one of these battles that I didn't think that the quarterback 2 battle was going to get as close as what it has. And luckily for Aiden, Cam Miller didn't play great this past week. Now, I also love that Cam was trying to get the ball down the field. They were trying to go out there and win a game. And in a preseason game, that's what you should try to do. And for the Raiders' standpoint, you're going to see a lot of AOC, and you're going to see a lot of Cam Miller. And clearly the Raiders are showing you that they are trying to evaluate what exactly they have with this new offense with Chip Kelly, and they're going to throw out AOC a bunch. Is Geno going to play? I don't necessarily know. If it was up to me, I personally wouldn't put Geno out there in that final preseason game, but if you're going to put certain starters out there like a Dante Thornton Jr., it might make more sense to get your starting quarterback out there for 1 series. Give him a series. Maybe you give him 2. We'll see what ends up happening, though. Let's go to the running back room next up here on the show, and this is going to be one where Genty got a lot of work last week. I thought he looked good, was putting dudes into the ground. Not 100% sure how much opportunity he's going to get in this game, but if he does get opportunities, he's probably the #1 player that everyone's going to be watching, and it's that physicality. How does he look in the backfield? How does he look as a pass protector? Is he able to go down the field? Do they try to put the ball in his hand maybe in a screen game, in the flat? There is a lot of different ways to get him involved, but to me, I sit back and I look here at Raheem Mostert, Chris Collier, Zamir White, Sincere McCormick, Dylan Laube, and there are a lot of question marks of who can make this team because I'll be transparent. I think the only running back that is a lock to make this Raiders team is Ashton Genty. I can make an argument of why the team can move on from Raheem Mostert. I can make an argument of why the team can move on from Zamir White. Sincere McCormick, Dylan Laube, Chris Collier, they are all fighting for a roster spot. And what's interesting is the Raiders, Chris Collier has kind of been the main back. 13 carries, 68 yards, that 5.2 yards per carry. Dylan Laube, I saw somebody on social media call him a lock to make the roster, which I'm not going to lie, does surprise me a little bit. From a Raheem Mostert standpoint, he's somebody that I want to see them use him in the passing game a little bit more. Sincere McCormick hasn't been great. Zamir White hasn't been great either, but the Raiders are going to keep 4 running backs on this roster. Ashton Genty is going to be one. Zamir White and Raheem Mostert have been listed as the RB2, but I almost wonder if Zamir White's getting put at RB2 is a little bit of trade bait. But the running back room is going to be fun. How these guys pass protect, though, how these guys look in the passing game overall, I do think is going to be the ultimate tiebreaker of who gets those final Raiders running back roster spots. Let's go to the wide receiver room next up here on the show, and the receiving room is another one where I don't know if we're going to see Jacoby Myers out there. And if it was up to me, Jacoby Myers, I trust him. He's going to do right, and he is a little bit frustrated right now with contract talks, and I don't know if we're going to see him out there. Trey Tucker, another guy. Not 100% sure if he's going to play, but if they're out there, all eyes are going to be on them. In terms of your rookies, Dante Thornton Jr., I would want to see him play in this game because he's been somebody that they're trying to get the chemistry down between Geno and Dante in terms of stretching the football out there. Tommy Millott, I'll be very clear, not a lock to make the roster. And I am somebody where I'm a little bit of a sicko. I'm not going to lie. And Tommy, I hope you don't get mad at me for saying this. But, I messaged Tommy on Instagram, and I noticed that Tommy Millott unfollowed me on IG. I also noticed that Tommy Millott unfollowed basically every single Raiders content creator out there. And that I sit back and I go, well, that's kind of interesting. And I asked Millott, like, hey, man, what's going on? Hope there's no hard feelings. And he told me he's trying to, take concentration off of the background noise. And I understand that I am that background noise. But I also understand that from a fan standpoint, if you're drafted in the 6th round, you're expected to make this roster. And I do expect Tommy Millott to make this roster, but he is far, and I mean far, far from a lock to make this squad. How does Jack Besh look out there? And then your next slot of wide receivers are the Alex Bachmans, Colin Johnson, Philip Dorsett. Marquez Callaway was getting some hype earlier this offseason. And then one player that I'm really rooting for to make the practice squad, don't really see how he makes this team, is Cedric Jackson, who right now does lead the Raiders preseason with 104 receiving yards, 7 targets, 7 receptions, 1 touchdown. And he's looked pretty damn good. And I know I'm not the only Raiders fan that has set up here and it's fun to root for guys in the preseason. And this is going to be another player that I am absolutely positively rooting for, and he's going to be fighting for a practice squad spot. So out of all the positions for the Las Vegas Raiders, which group, and that's how I want to look at it. I want to look at it from a group standpoint. Which group has the most to prove up against the Arizona Cardinals? This is going to be our pinned comment. If you're a silver and black fan, if you're a Raider fan, if you got a pulse, you're about to get it with the YouTube ad break. Scrolling down, give me your answer to this one. If we're talking about sole position group, I'm talking probably about the corners. If I can branch in secondary and I can just put everybody together in the secondary, that's what I'm going to be looking at. And if the Raiders secondary plays the way that I'm hoping that they play, and I'm looking at the live comments right now, there's a lot of cornerbacks, there's a lot of linebackers down there. This team needs to show everybody that we can cover. I think we're confident in our ability to, pop some guys, but we got to be able to show teams that we can cover as well. And I'm really going to be looking at that. Let's go to the next position group here. It's going to be tight end, and Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, a little bit of a coin flip there, whether or not they're going to play. I will say this. Brock Bowers, I don't need to see him. And anytime you get an opportunity to watch 89, and also huge shout out to Brock, who got named in the NFL's top 100 of the 24th best player in the NFL. Not only is it a huge accomplishment, the number 24 is a Raiders legendary number. Michael Mayer, I've been impressed by what I've seen from him. To me, though, at the tight end position, one player you really got to watch is Ian Thomas, the tight end 3. And I really thought that he was going to be a lock to be tight end 3. He's been bad in the preseason. He's had drop issues. He's been missing blocks. He's been missing assignments. And that's the biggest job for the tight end 3 on the Las Vegas Raiders. Do your job. And he's got to be able to go out there and do his job. From Albert O to Justin Shorter, Quadir Ishmael, there's some versatility in there for Shorter, Ishmael. One guy, though, that I'm really rooting for is Carter Runyon, a UDFA. And I say that because, you look at the numbers up on screen there, 5 catches, 62 yards on 7 targets, and if Aiden O'Connell doesn't completely miss Carter Runyon on a seam route down the middle of the field, Runyon's got another 6 catches for probably close to 100 yards and a touchdown, and he is a good athlete. And he's been a player that I've been rooting for, small school guy out of Townsend. But I do think that the tight end 3 battle is probably still up for grabs between Albert O and Ian Thomas. But if Thomas has another bad game, if you're this Raiders organization, you got to sit back and you got to go, do we believe in competing? And if the answer to that is yes, Ian Thomas hasn't been the 3rd best tight end on this team. That's a cold hard fact. Let's go to the offensive line. And let's be honest. Out of all the positions here, I know that you're a real one. I know that you're a sicko. And I mean that in the most respectful way possible. When you watch the offensive line, you should be looking at JPJ. You should be looking at Alex Kappa. Absolutely that battle going on at right guard, but I would put all starting 5 guys out there. And I say that because we need more continuity. We need more chemistry, and I think that that's a big part of one of the problems that I have with, I'm all for competition, but we got to be able to trust the guy to our right. We got to be able to trust the guy to our left, and our offensive line looks like we don't trust many people at times, and I don't want that to try to kind of translate and trickle off once the season gets going. In terms of our rookies, Caleb Rogers, Charles Grant, I know that Charles Grant's got some upside, and my lowest graded Raiders rookie draft pick was Caleb Rogers in round 3, and he just simply looks like a player that should have been drafted on day 3, and I want to see more out of him. In terms of Alaki Tassi, he's looked pretty damn good for only recently picking up football. Thayer Munford, got to be better, no doubt about it. Dalton Wagner has been somebody. When him and Tassi are on that right side of the offensive line, they look a lot better. And there's a few players that I think are fighting for some roster spots here, but the number one dude I'm watching for on the offensive line, what does JPJ look like? What does Alex Kappa look like? And is this right guard battle legitimate? Because I really, really hope the Raiders are smart enough to not put Alex Kappa over Jackson Powers Johnson, or else I'm just going to lose a lot of faith in what the hell we're doing. Coming up next year on the show, let's get into players to watch, what to watch for exactly on the defensive side of the football. Before I get into that, though, huge shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. And I love me some Prize Picks, and I think that y'all will too. And because this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, preseason football is underway and college football is here. So don't miss any of the action this season on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. If you're wondering what my picks are, I can show them here to you in a second, because I do think Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds to turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. My sports opinions tell me that I'm going to turn $20 into $370 if Geno Smith, Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, Max Crosby all get those mores. And then look at Joe Burrow down there. More as well. I am really, really counting on this Raiders team to be able to get me some money. But you know what? I'm confident that it's going to be able to happen. And if you're confident in your picks as well, then please get started with Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. I'm going to be running my game all season long with them, and I hope that you join Jeremy Chuggs and I as well. So here we go. Defensive side of the football, what to watch for at defensive end. If 98's out there, watch him, because he's box office, baby. In terms of everybody else, see that guy by the name of Malcolm Kuntz? He better be out there on the field. And it's somebody that needs to be better, because I don't think that he is a top 4 off defensive lineman on this team right now. His hand usage is good. His, I think, ability to read defenses, it's good. You can see that it's there. His first step is not there right now. He is slow. His get off, his acceleration, and I understand that he's coming back from that injury, but we invested $12 million, essentially a guaranteed 1-year prove-it deal. He's got to be better. I have more confidence in Tyree Wilson right now than I do Malcolm Kuntz. And I want to see, how does Tyree look? Because Tyree's been the second best defensive tackle this offseason. I think that Tyree is showing you that it's starting to click and it's starting to develop, and he's starting to, go out there and react and play like he's not thinking all the time. And for as athletically gifted as he is, I want to see that still going. Now, if the Raiders are like, hey, we don't play Tyree Wilson, I think that shows you how confident they are in him. But for a young man like a Ja Joyner, a UDFA, fighting for a spot, an Andre Carter fighting for a spot, those are going to be players where this might be one of their last opportunities to put on a Raiders uniform. And with the Charles Snowden suspension looming, the Raiders have to know that there is a possibility that he's going to get a 3-game suspension. And if he does end up getting a 3-game suspension and you plan on putting Tyree Wilson in at defensive tackle, that's going to be one of those things where that's got to be a position that we pay attention to, because if the rumors are true that we're interested in an edge rusher like Trey Hendrickson, maybe they already know that something's going to be happening. Let's go to defensive tackle here for the Las Vegas Raiders. And Adam Butler is somebody that I would like to be able to give a little bit of a rest to, give some time off. In terms of our 2 rookies, Tonka Hemingway, J.J. Pegues Pegues was one of the big winners from last preseason game, and you saw some of that early on development. Thomas Booker, does he continuously get reps? Janu Lalu, is Leki Fotu going to be playing? Because for Fotu, he hasn't been able to get out there in a preseason game. He's been in a walking boot. He's been unhealthy. But Fotu was signed this offseason to be a replacement for Christian Wilkins, and I hope that he gets that opportunity to showcase some of the talent that I thought was good enough to potentially make a 53-man roster. But for John Lalu, Zach Carter, that to me is your next group to watch. They are expected, Lalu's expected to make this team. Zach Carter's probably the one guy on the roster bubble a little bit. But if this is a team that wants to rotate defensive tackles, lot of looking. You got to expect more out of that defensive tackle group. They played a lot better, and they've been looking better. But I want to continue to see it. Let's go to the linebacker room here, and I'll just say this. Show me that you can cover. I know that Landon Roberts can pop guys. I know that Jamal Adams is an absolute heat-seeking missile. I know that Devin White can get to point A to point B in the ground game. But I need to see that our linebackers can cover, and that is by far the number one thing that I'm looking at for all these linebackers, because quite frankly, Tommy Eichenberg got to be a better guy in terms of being able to stop the run, in terms of being able to drop back into coverage. Jalen Smith is somebody that does deserve some credit, because I was actually surprised when I turned on the film how much better I thought Jalen Smith looked compared to what my initial thought process of him was. Matt Jones, a UDFA, fighting for a spot. It's tough to watch because he gets picked apart a lot in the passing game, and you see it from time to time. Amari Gaynor, y'all know how I feel about him. He's somebody that can go sideline to sideline. Doesn't really look like he's getting many opportunities. Michael Barrett had a really, really big play last week. This linebacker room, got to show me that they can cover. And if they do, I'm going to feel a lot better about it. Before we get into some more positions here of who exactly we can watch, I want to know from everybody, where are you watching from? Shout out your city. I'm right now located in Dallas, Texas. I grew up in the 570. Shout out to Danville, Pennsylvania. If you're watching the Little League World Series, I grew up probably like 40 minutes down the road from Williamsport. If you ever get an opportunity, if you got kids, take kids to Williamsport. It's like Disney for baseball. All the different cultures, it's absolutely incredible. If anybody out there lives near, I don't know, maybe like Glendale, maybe like Phoenix, maybe Tucson, Arizona. I'm going to actually be out in Tucson, Arizona on Friday. And for some of y'all, you're probably going to watch this on Friday. Hey, come out. Get some drinks with me. I'm going to be out there, Tucson, Arizona. The address is here. It's called Desert Shark Tucson. And if anybody wants more information on some of the giveaways, some of the prizes, who's going to be there, follow and DM them on Instagram at Desert Shark Tucson. You might even be able to get a better opportunity to get a Raiders Report hat, because I'm going to be taking out a bunch of them based on how crazy and how many bangs we got on today's show. But that's the logo. It's owned and operated by a diehard Raiders fan, and I'm super, super excited to be able to get out there. So if you live near Tucson, Arizona, if you were shouting out your city, I'm seeing a bunch of people, which Darth just said from Pennsylvania, 570. Shout out to the 570. Let's go to the cornerback room next up here for the Las Vegas Raiders. And, put down your pen and paper. Get ready to buckle up, Buttercup, because cornerback room is going to be dissected high and low by every single fan, because we want to see more out of this room. Eric Stokes is no doubt your cornerback one, but there's a legit battle going on between Darian Porter and Kai Blue Kelly for that cornerback 2 spot. And I was wondering if Kelly was going to play. He did end up practicing on Thursday, which is a good indication that he will be able to go for the Las Vegas Raiders. Darian Porter, though, he has, let's be transparent, really struggled. And he has really, really struggled this preseason. He's been better in practice. He still shows that he gives you value in special teams. But, he's really struggled in the preseason. He looks like a player that's only learned how to play corner for 1 year, needs to get some more reps. You can see the athletic ability is there, but it kind of reminds me a little bit like Jacorian Bennett when he was a rookie. And I know the Raiders just traded him away. Porter's thinking, as soon as he is able to go out there and be an athlete and react, he's going to be really special. But you name a corner, you should watch him. Darnay Holmes, Greedy Vance, doesn't matter who it is. Secondary needs to be watched, which takes us to our next position here, the safety room. And the safety room has got to be another position where, strong safety, free safety. I would say out of all the safeties, the guy that I'm the most confident in is Jeremy Chin. He's been the highest graded PFF defender for the Las Vegas Raiders. He had a nice interception last week. But besides him, Everybody else, in my opinion, has got to play. Now, you're not going to see a Harper. You're not going to see Lonnie Johnson Jr. out there. They're both banged up, and based on what I've heard, they're both probably going to end up being on the short-term IR to start the season. But from a Chris Smith, from a Terrell Edmonds standpoint, hell, even a Hudson Clark. Hudson Clark, I actually thought looked pretty damn good in limited fashion this past week against the 49ers, and he's going to get a lot of special teams rep. For Trey Taylor, somebody who was drafted in the 7th round last season, this might be his last game ever as a Raider. And quite frankly, I would say that there is a 25% chance that he makes this team. And I'll sit back and I go, can somebody have a Tyreek McAllister game? And some of you might be like, what the hell does that mean? Tyreek McAllister was a player that was on the roster bubble, had an amazing third preseason game, and ended up making the squad. For a guy like Trey Taylor, he needs to have an outstanding game to make this team, because based on the information that I'm getting, it is Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Paul-Lamal, Terrell Edmonds, Chris Smith. Right now, those are your 4 safeties, and then there's a big tier gap, and then there is Trey Taylor. And then once once Lonnie Johnson Jr. comes back, and once Thomas Harper come back, then it's probably goodbye Chris Smith, and then we're going to reevaluate this roster from top to bottom, where Harper might be somebody that steals a cornerback job spot due to his ability to play in the nickel and drop back to safety. Let's now go to special teams here, and A.J. Cole, should always watch him. Daniel Carlson, I believe he is 8 of 10 this preseason for field goals, which is pretty crazy. He's already had 10 field goal attempts. He was 5 for 5 this past week, or maybe he was 4 for 4. Maybe that's what it is. He's like either 7 of 9 or 8 of 10. Somebody fact check me. But Tommy Millott, he's got to show more confidence in the special teams game. But for dudes like Bachman, Sincere McCormick, Laube, hell, even Zamir White's been getting more kick return opportunities. If these players want to make this squad, I don't think it has to do with what they do at receiver. I don't think it has to do with what they do at running back. It probably has more to do with the way that they can contribute to this team on special teams. So every kickoff return, every punt return, look to see who's catching the football, look to see what they're doing with it, and see who's playing in the quarters. Because obviously the earlier they play, probably the higher they are up on that depth chart. And I'm really, really going to be looking at what our team evaluates from a kick return, punt return standpoint. So before I get out of here again, I'm going to be live 2 hours before kickoff. 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. If you're a Raiders fan, hit that subscribe button. If you're not going to the game, send this link to a bunch of fans and tell them there's one place and one place only to watch the Raiders game on the internet, and that's here at the Raiders Report. I promise you this, we're going to get close to 100,000 people watching. 100,000 people, Oakland style. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you bleed silver and black, I expect to see you here on the Raiders Report. All right, y'all, we got 530 people here in the building, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you click that like button, and also make sure you give a shout out to Patrick Roche. Bang! What is going on? Patrick Roche.
And looks like he said he doesn't want to spin the wheel.
He's like, I'll put one down with you. All right, Pat. I'm going to call you on IG. Where you at, Mr. Roche? Where you at, Mr. Roche? Where you at, Mr. Roche? Uh-oh. This guy. He's a bad, bad man. He's a bad, bad man, they say. What's up, Pat? He's like, let's go. All right, Roche. I just cracked one open. Hang on. Can I hand this to you? Please, please, please. Roche, cheers, brother. I think he's literally just, I think he already went.
Let's get it.
You ready, Pat? Let's get some Mr. Roches down below. Give me some PRs. The delay is crazy.
Delicious.
Goo Lagoon. Mr. Roche. You're You've been absolutely killing it, an absolute legend. Where are you located? Washington. Oh boy, I've never been out to Washington. I've also never been out to Arizona. I see you're a big fisherman.
Before we let him go.
Before I let you go, Roche, do you like hazy IPA beer? He goes, I'm not too picky on what I'm drinking. My wife's dad, he's actually about to celebrate his 70th birthday. He's a huge fisherman, and I've always wanted to take him on a fishing trip. I saw that you're a big fishing guy. Is that your boat that you're always on? All right, if I'm ever in Washington, I'm gonna hit you up. We're gonna go out and we're gonna do some fishing. But I'm gonna be real. I don't like to touch the fish. I know you guys can yell at me. I'm not gonna be able to take it off the hook. I'd rather you just do that because I don't want to hurt the fish. My dad would probably kick the shit out of me for saying that out loud right now. But if I'm ever in Washington, we're gonna go fishing. You have my word. 2.5 from Seattle. All right. I say I've been following you on IG. I see you post a lot of fishing stuff, so we're gonna do that sometime. All right, brother. Keep on rocking. Keep on rocking. Coming up next here, we're gonna get in to our Tuna's top 5. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know what to do today for the Tuna's top 5. So if anybody ever wants to send me recommendations on social media, if you don't know where I'm at by now, please do it. If you ever want to give me suggestions on the show, please do it. So because it was, excuse me, today was National Hazy IPA Beer Day. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it was also National Senior Citizen Day, So I was like,
top 5 old people.
Either I'm ranking
old people,
or I'm gonna go with some beers. So what you guys are gonna see, my Tuna's top 5 today. It's happy hour after all. I know y'all are making fun of me. Guys, I'm not a fisherman anymore. I used to be an outdoorsman. I grew up on a farm. I know what I am now, and I am not that. Also, it's not fair to the fish because I feel like if I took a fish off a hook, I would actually kill it. So coming up here, I'm going to give you guys my top 5 favorite beers. And some of these are, casual beers. I do have one in here that I haven't had in a long time, but it was amazing. The reason why I'm going to put number 5 on this list is Yuengling was a beer that, I don't want to say I grew up with it, but just Yuengling in Pennsylvania. It's the oldest brewery. If you ever get an opportunity, you should absolutely go visit it. But my dad is not a beer drinker and doesn't like beer. The only beer he does drink, though, is Yuengling. So to me, anytime I have a Yuengling, it's typically with my dad. So there's obviously some nostalgia in there for me. It's got to be ice cold. But for those that don't know, my dad's my guy. It's my best friend. And I hope that, when I grow up, I have a just cool of a relationship with my son or daughter. Though I don't know if she's going to be drinking Yuengling. But Yuengling coming in here at number 5. Number 4, it's called Sonnenhopfen. And this is a beer that I had out in Germany. It is, if you ever go to the city of Cologne, there is a brewery there. It's called Gaffel. And the most common beer in Cologne is called Kolsch. Kolsch is how they used to spell it over there. Umlaut over the O. But Kolsch is a style of beer that was invented in Cologne, and one of the coolest brewery tours. If you guys are just beer fans, I love beer. I love being able to get into a beer hall and have a good experience. Go to the city of Cologne. You'll see the tallest cathedral. It took 600 years to build. It's absolutely it's beautiful. It's where the 3 kings, the 3 wise men, are actually buried there. So a little bit of history lesson. But they have 26 breweries in Cologne. And every single brewery that you go into has their style of Kolsch. There's no beer menu. If you go into Gaffel, you're getting Gaffel Kolsch. But Gaffel also makes this one called Sonnenhopfen, and it's kind of like a Hefeweizen. I would compare it like a Blue Moon. Delicious beer. But one day when my dad came to visit me in Germany, we went on a brewery tour, and we went to all these individual breweries because, again, you walk in and everybody's drinking. Pafkin is a brewery. You're drinking Pafkin Kolsch. You're drinking Gaffel Kolsch. You're drinking Ziegler Kolsch. And it's everybody drinking the same beer. It's a really cool experience. Awesome brewery tour. That's number 4 on my list. Coming here, number 3. I'm going to go Blue Moon. And to me, I love Hefeweizens. I love wheat beers. They are my favorite types of beers. You give me a good orange You're telling me I got to watch a little bit of Saturday college football, sipping down a Blue Moon, hanging out in the outdoors? It's hard to beat a good Blue Moon. Number 2 coming up here, it's the versatility of it. Dos Equis. I would say Dos Equis is probably my favorite beer to just like casually sip. It is a refreshing beer to me. You put a good lime in it. I can drink this beer. Like if it's 100 degrees out, I'm taking a Dos Equis. It's also my wife's favorite beer, so because of that, it gets ranked a little bit higher. But number 1, and I've said this before, if you ever see Mango Cart on tap, get it. Try it. It might not be for everyone. It is a very mango-y beer, but I think it's absolutely delicious. I think it's like you combine Sun and Hopfen, a little bit of Blue Moon, you put a little bit of mango in there, you blend it up. It's absolutely unbelievable. These are my top 5 beers, and a huge, huge shout-out to my guy, Brandon Jasper. R.I.P. to the great tuna.
R.I.P.?
R.I.P. to the great tuna.
All right, I'm going to go through some of the Super Chats that aren't going to be on the mailbag.
Rebel, I'm going to be honest. I don't like Happy Dad. I drink them because I can drink a lot of them, and I drink
also,
them.
Happy Dad, not a beer.
True. Yeah, not a beer. I'm be like now, Happy Dad, I don't like Happy Dad. I'll be very transparent. I just drink it because I know that it's probably the thing that I can drink the most of. And
Also,
with y'all.
Also, they won't sponsor us.
Yeah, that too. That's a different point. Marcos, Casa Grande, Arizona, let's party player. Hey, dude, it's going to be fun. I'm guessing that means you're going to be out there, and I think that there's going to be, again, Fabian, I don't know if you're still here. I was told 250 people, which is insane. I mean, if 250 people pull up, that's going to be insane. Also, Patrick Roche, since you banged, I believe that gives us 4 bangs today. If my math is mathing correctly, 4 bangs, which means I'm giving away 4 Raiders Report hats tomorrow at Desert Shark Tucson. Well, that's interesting. LA Crash Dog said, top 5 childhood cartoons. I kind of like it. What up, Born a Raiders fan? Another Madden sim, but with Madden 26, please. We could probably get the new game.
Yeah.
And I've thought about doing like imagine during the regular season, right? Like if we did Madden Sims like right before the game actually happened. It's been something that I've thought about. It's been an idea that I've absolutely have entertained in my mind. But for Thursdays, we typically go live for the Thursday night football game, like the actual game. And it's not that I wouldn't want to do a Madden Sim. To me, though, the only way I'd be able to do a Madden Sim is if we did it like on Wednesday. And it just schedule-wise for me personally, it would be tough. But I'm a man that loves a good deal. I might be able to give you guys some deals where we might be able to do some Madden Sims. I'll be very transparent. It's going to be a big deal. Like, you guys would have to go absolutely nuclear on a Thursday. Because I think the only way I'd be able to do it is if I had another producer, because I wouldn't make Chugs do it. If I had another producer come in on like Friday or Saturday and we ran a Madden Sim, which, very transparent, that would be me giving up one of my off days. I'm okay to do it. But I would give you guys a big deal. I'd give you guys a challenge, and if you hit it,
Thugador.
It could be something that could happen.
We're getting there. Don't worry, we're getting there.
Thugador. We got you, bro. Lamont, Mando helped the acorns not smell like tire smoke. Do they make a Womando for the ladies or kiddo for the kids? Shout out Mando, Raiders, and tire smoke.
It's called something different. Like, it's a parent company that owns Mando, but they do a different...
I can't think of the name.
Yeah, I can't think of the name. But yes, they have... That's actually what they started off doing. And then they made Mando for men.
I was just going to say... Lume.
Yep.
Lume. If you like Mando, if your wife or kid... Lume is for women. Get me in on that fantasy football league. If you like Pete Carroll and value competition, I'm going to be the dude everybody in the league hates. Michael. Is this Michael from our FaceTime earlier? I think it was Michael Macias. Though you didn't sound very confident that you even knew you were Michael Macias.
I'm
Ron
Burgundy.
I'll tell you this. I love competition. I am a fantasy football guy at heart. I do not follow it nearly as close as I used to. At one point, I would have said you could put me up against anybody in fantasy football, and I'm gonna like my odds. I mean, I used to do a lot of stuff for fantasy, but now I do a lot of stuff for the Raiders, and I'm very, very happy to be able to do it. But you got a shot. Anybody can win. Thugador, Raiders game you wish you could relive, and no, you wish you never watched. All right, one that I wish I never watched, and one that I wish I can relive.
Easy for me.
I'll say, and I would say the game that I legitimately had the absolute most fun on. There's two games. There is when the Raiders beat the Chiefs on Christmas, or when the Raiders beat the Chargers to go to the playoffs. Again, I'm only going to base this off of my experience as a host on here. Those are my two games that come to my mind first. When the Raiders beat the Cowboys on Christmas, that was electric. The game that I wish I never had to do ever again.
Wait, I think we might have the same one.
For what? The never watch again? I mean, I'm not gonna. That Vikings game was brutal, where they lost 3-0.
That one?
The game that broke my heart probably the most.
For me?
Dude, there was that one Rams game.
Yeah. I was going to say one that you'd have to pay me to rewatch this game. Raiders, Saints. Raiders don't pass the 50-yard line.
They lost 24-0.
They did not cross the 50-yard line.
I kind of forgot about that one. That was brutal.
For good reason.
Yeah. They didn't pass midfield.
That game sucked.
And Matt, they did not pass midfield. You know what? I'm gonna go with that one.
The game that I would rewatch, different from yours, obviously those were good ones. The Chargers 63-point beatdown.
That was a fun day. That was I'll say this, actually, there's one other game that I'll throw in the mix, and it's only because of the experience that I had. What was the game when the Raiders beat the Ravens on Monday Night Football to kick off the season? It was the game where
Zay
overtime,
Jones.
Zay Jones lay up into the end zone.
I think that was week 1.
It was definitely week 1. We were out in Las Vegas. We were at a restaurant, and I had a few family members there. I had, a whole bunch of people were at this watch party. Probably like 100 people were at this bar hanging out with us, and we were out in Las Vegas. And that game, it was also really cool to just be able to show a few people, a few of my family members of what the Raiders Report is, what we do, how we get down. It was a lot of fun, man. It was an absolute blast, and I will never ever forget that one, no doubt about it. All right, here's the thing. I got to go take a quick pee real quick. What we're going to do here is we're about to get into a mailbag. I do have to make this mailbag a little bit quicker just because, again, I don't know how the hell we're going to get out here at 5:30. It's going to be cutting it close. But we got a duck race, $20 Venmo in order to get in. We got a mailbag to do, so make sure that you're using hashtag Raiders, or you can super chat to skip the line. We're going to be answering questions. Let's try to make the mailbag 10 to 12 minutes. Is that possible? Cool. All right, let me go pee real quick.
All right. Make sure to get those questions in. A lot of super chats that we didn't hit, I saved for the mailbag. So just off right here, Born a Raiders fan, I see yours. Cash Joey, I see yours. Richard Black. Some of these super chats, I didn't have him answer because we're about to answer here in the mailbag. But, all right. Ready? Type it. I saw Zon type it. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. What is it? Tequila. My absolute favorite song to do during karaoke. I let my game speak for itself on account of how bad I stutter. All good, Michael Macias. We're just busting your you-know-what. Busting your you-know-what. David Zahn, my guy, how we feeling? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
All right, y'all. I am back. I don't know. I felt like my pee smelled like asparagus, and I haven't had asparagus today, so it was kind of weird.
Oh,
Kind of weird.
Zahn is sick as a dog. Well, you know what helps when you're sick, Zahn?
Here, let me take my shoes off. Here, wait, Zahn. There you go. There you go, Zahn. I got you. Don't worry. That'll make you feel better. Tell me if you need another one, Zahn. I got you. I got you. Just you let me know, Zahn. I'm always here for you, buddy. I'm always here for you, buddy. I got you. All right, y'all. Let's get into this mailbag here before my wife kills me. Hashtag Raiders Super Chat. Get those questions, comments in. Well, the way that we're going to do this is this video is going to go out on Saturday morning. So I want it to be kind of like a game day mailbag. So think about questions that, maybe you would think about on the morning of game day. And then we'll just keep on breaking it down. Roster cuts, trade candidates, all that type of stuff are the questions that I want to see. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
Coming up here on the show, mailbag time here on the Raiders Report. I'm excited. All right, that's karma. I tried to step over the cord and I about broke my knee. My flippin' goodness. Mailbag time here on what? Me? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. My knee is. We're in trouble. I think it's shattered my knee. Oh my lord. Eat garlic from Rebel. I feel like I don't need garlic. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Raider Nation, it's mailbag time. My name is Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and all these questions are from our live show on Thursday, August 21st. So if anything new happens, don't yell at me. This is a game day mailbag, and I don't know about y'all. I'm super fired up for the Raiders and Cardinals game tonight. And if you did not already know, Jeremy Chuggs and I, we're going to be live for this game 2 hours before kickoff, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. If you bleed silver and black, if you're a Raiders fan, if you're not able to get out to Glendale, Arizona, there's one place to be and one place only. That is here at the Raiders Report. I expect to see you here. Let's go to Patrick B. I know Jacoby is upset at the moment. Upset, kind of more frustrated, I think is the better word to use there. He wants a contract extension. He feels like he's done everything that's needed to get that extension. But Jacoby is a top 3 wide receiver too. I don't think he's a top 3 wide receiver too. I do think he's one of the better wide receiver twos in the NFL, one of the most underappreciated players in the NFL. I'll say that. And not that I'm against getting a true number 1, but the only true number 1 out there that I think that you legitimately can get right now is Terry McLaurin. And Terry McLaurin's going to require some heavy draft capital, and you're going to have to pay him north of $30 million a year. It's not that I don't think that McLaurin can make us better, but if you told me, could I use that money or that asset in some way to make our defense better, I would try to make our defense better before going out and getting a number 1 receiver. Let's go to Lamont. If we get a top 10 pick this year, do we get a quarterback 1? I personally do not think that we do because I don't think that we would be in the top 10 because of Geno. I'm confident in Geno Smith. I would say that this would be more of like we need to build the defense. That's why we're in the top 10. Let's go to Born a Raiders fan. This is a wild trade. The Raiders get Parsons. Cowboys get Tyree, a 2026 first, 2027 second, or LV gets Parsons, Cowboy. All right, there's a lot going on here. I'll say this. To me, if you want to get Micah Parsons, you got to give up 2 first-round picks. You got to basically give up a player like a Tyree Wilson. You also have to give up, like, probably a second-round pick, and then you got to throw in something else. Plus, you're going to make Micah Parsons the highest-paid player in the NFL. It's not a quarterback. I think Micah is better than Trey Hendrickson, but Trey Hendrickson, to me, would be the player that makes more sense for the Raiders because we are still trying to build for the future, and we're not just an edge rusher away from being able to win a Super Bowl. Let's go to, you did it. If AOC does bad this last preseason game, do we move on from him? I guess it would be like, how bad does he look, right? Like, if he looks like an absolute disaster, I still would be surprised because the Raiders want Cam Miller to be able to develop a little bit. And AOC, again, like even if he's the quarterback 3, that's still a guy that you keep on this team. This is going to be a roster that keeps 3 quarterbacks, so I would say no, you don't move on from him. What Raider fans should really hope for, though, in all honesty, you want Aiden O'Connell to go out there and look the best he's ever looked, and then if we can flip him for a draft pick, I think that would be actually pretty good. Let's go to Michael Macias. Is there a scenario where Dylan Laube is running back 2? Dude has looked good all preseason and on special teams. I hope not. I don't think that Dylan Laube is a very good running back. I'll be honest with y'all. Like, I think that he has trouble hanging on to the football. He has looked better this preseason, but to me, RB2 is that would scare the hell out of me. Like, Ashton Genty is a great running back, but outside of Ashton Genty, you're looking at probably one of the worst running back rooms in terms of depth in the NFL. If I wanted an RB2, his name is Sincere McCormick, and it's because McCormick can run between the tackles better than Laube, better than Chris Collier, better than I think even a guy like Raheem Mostert, where if a guy like Laube ends up making the squad, it's probably to be that RB3, RB4 to help out on special teams, to help out in the passing game. That's how Laube's got to make an impact. He's got to be able to catch the football better. Let's go to Philip Quintano, who is this year's Tyreek McAllister, great third preseason game, and ends up making the team. So what's funny about this, we were literally live earlier today, and we were talking about Tyreek McAllister players. So McAllister was a roster bubble candidate. He was a UDFA. He was a dude that we didn't even know if he was going to end up making the squad. I'm looking at the Raiders roster right now, depth chart. I would say in terms of, again, UDFA, I'll go with a guy like Carter Runyon, a tight end. Maybe a Chris Collier, Sincere McCormick. Honestly, 2 names would be really interesting. Ja Joyner and Andre Carter I'll throw in there. If you need a receiver, let me go with Alex Bachman. So I like this one. Which player has the most to prove against the Arizona Cardinals? So I would say, think of this question as like a player that they're on the roster bubble or fighting for a position or, they're fighting for something. And if they have a good game, they're either going to make the roster or they're going to win that battle. I want to know from you, which player has the most to prove against the Arizona Cardinals? I'll give you my answer here in just a moment. I'm going to go with 2 players here. And the first name that I'm going to go with is Tommy Millott. He was drafted in the 6th round. He is not a lock to make this squad. He needs to have a good game if he wants to make this squad. I'm also going to go with linebacker Cody Lindenberg because, again, the Raiders invested in both of those players in the NFL draft, and neither guy is a lock to make this squad. So because of that, I'm going to go with those 2 names as the most approved for this third preseason game. Let's go to Cass Joey, an absolute legend. Any truth or more info to Hondo's claim about trade of the Raiders? By the way, I would definitely make the trade. Kuntz in the 2nd, maybe 1st if we can get a pick 2. No team in the NFL is going to give up a first-round pick, and I want to be very, very clear on that. I don't even really want to give up a 2nd. To me, it's Malcolm Kuntz and a 3rd-round pick is kind of what I would be my final offer. I don't want to, again, I feel bad for saying this, but I was told by a source today that Hondo's claim is totally made up. And if Hondo was told that, like, I want Hondo to tell the people, right? Because if I was told that, I would also tell you the exact same thing. I'm not saying that what Hondo was told was false. I'm just saying that I think Hondo a lot of times he just says a lot of things, and I'll leave it like that. Let's go to Richard Black. What's up, Richard? Wish this regime would get off their ass and trade for Hendrickson. Crosby is down, we know. Call them the dynamic duo. I don't think it's a matter of, the Raiders and all these NFL teams not interested in Trey Hendrickson. If the Bengals are legitimately looking for a first-round pick and then another potential pick and then another player on top of that, like, the initial report was the Bengals want, like, imagine the price tag was Malcolm Kuntz, a first-round pick, and then also a John Lalo or something like that, whatever the hell it is. Like, that's way too much for this Raiders team. It's way too much for any team. And I think because the asking price is so high, would you pay $100,000 for a Honda Civic? I wouldn't. That's kind of like what the asking price right now is for Trey Hendrickson. Because then, again, you got to pay him $30 million a year. Micah's better than Trey. Him and Max would be crazy for years. No doubt, right? But you're also giving up your first-round pick this year, your first-round pick next season. You're also probably giving up like 2 second-round picks on top of that. For a Raiders team that is weird, Do you think we're a Super Bowl winning team? If the answer to that is yes, then sure, let's go out and get Micah Parsons. I don't think we're a Super Bowl winning team right now, and I don't think that we're a Micah Parsons away from being a Super Bowl caliber team. So because of that, as much as, yes, Micah Parsons would make the Raiders better, Micah Parsons would make every NFL team better, no doubt about it. But sometimes you got to be willing to say no to a guy, because what if you're able to go out and get multiple first-round picks and those players turn into, being star-studded guys? Like, imagine Micah Parsons we had Brock Bowers, our last first-round pick, and Ashton Genty was our last first-round pick. Would you trade Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty for Micah Parsons and have to pay him $40 million a year? Plus, let's also say Jack Besh, JPJ, Jack Besh, Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers for Micah Parsons. I don't think there's a single Raiders fan that does that, because we know that we are so much more than an edge rusher away from being able to compete for a Super Bowl. So because of that, I hear you, but I think trade just makes a little bit more sense. But based on what I've been told, the Raiders aren't front runners for Trey Hendrickson. We will get into more questions here in just a moment, but today's show sponsor, again, huge shout out to Prize Picks. And Prize Picks means football is back. And I'm excited for football being back because college football is here. Super excited to be able to watch K-State and Iowa State, and the fact that regular season football action is here, Prize Picks is the place to go. Prize Picks is simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Prize Picks invented flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. If you're trying to run your game all season long, Prize Picks, run your game. My lineup that I have for the entire season is what you see up on screen. $20 to win, $370, and I'll tell you this, I feel really flipping good about it. Play $5, get $50 instantly in lineups. Real money, sports action made easy. This link is going to be available to all y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Huge shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring the Raiders Report. Let's go to Lamont. Would you trade tight end 2 for a player we really need? I feel like anytime I talk about Michael Mayer right now, there is a crowd of people on Twitter that are just like, Mitch, you always talk about trading away Michael Mayer. I talk about trading Michael Mayer because it gets brought up a lot. So you got to think about that. I don't really want to move on from Mayer. I'll be very transparent and very honest with you. But if you told me the Raiders were able to get a player that is a legitimate edge rusher, a legitimate free safety, a legitimate corner, like think about the value of how you think about Mayer. If I'm able to get a player like that and the defense at one of those 3 positions, defensive tackle, you got to at least entertain that idea. So do I want to trade Michael Mayer? No. Do I think that free safety, cornerback, do I think starting free safety, cornerback, and defensive tackle and defensive end is a bigger need than our tight end too? Yes, I do. Let's go to Jalen Moss. You're next up here on the show. Name a random player you think the Raiders are trying to trade before cut day. Only because I was talking to one of our guys earlier. There was a lot of rumors today around Brian Robinson trade rumors, a lot of running back trade rumors. Part of me that wonders, is Zamir White on that list? Because, I look at the running back depth chart, and they have Zamir White listed at RB2. It would be a very smart chess playing checkers type of thing to put Zamir White at RB2 to convince everybody out there in the world that you think Zamir is the RB2, and then, they end up not keeping him because, I'll be honest, I don't give a shit whether or not they keep Zeus. Quite frankly, I don't really want to see Zeus out there on the field. He's got a fumbling issue, but to all their NFL teams out there, he was a 4th rounder from Georgia, and he can run between the tackles. Let's go to John. You're next up here on the show. Malcolm is having a hard time trusting his body right now. Do you believe that once he does, he is a 10-sack player? I think my problem with Malcolm Kuntz right now is I think he can be a 10-sack player in the NFL. I just don't know if it's going to happen with the Raiders. And, for somebody that also tore their ACL, I'm not trying to sit up here and say I'm the athlete that Malcolm Kuntz is, but I at least understand the mental struggle of an athlete dealing with a severe knee injury. And, I've had multiple severe knee injuries, and it's a really hard thing to be able to overcome because you second-guess yourself. And when you're in the NFL, when you're just playing at that elite level, that second guess sometimes the difference of whether or not you win or lose that rep. So based on the conversations I've had, he's doing like everything right. He just doesn't have that first step yet. He doesn't have that get off. And if he's thinking about it too much, it is going to impact his play. My worry is we're paying for a player that's making $12 million this season that's not going to look like that guy. And then he's going to be healthier next offseason, and then he's going to be a lot better. The good part is maybe we get him at a discount if we keep him, though. Let's go to Jerome Stout. Why aren't we looking at Asante Samuel Jr.? We need help with corner. I mean, Asante plays on the outside, and he's also 5'10". And, Pete's got a typical dude that they're looking for, long, lanky, athletic corners. The other problem about Asante Samuel Jr. is he's got a serious neck injury. And there are a lot of teams that, based on the medical, I don't know if Asante Samuel Jr. would pass certain teams' physicals, and it's because of that neck injury. So for a guy like Pete, you got an undersized corner for his standards, plus a neck injury. You add all that up, I would say that's why Asante hasn't been called yet. Let's go to Cali Live-In, who is someone that made the team last year that won't this season. First name that comes to my mind is Amari Gaynor. I'll go with him right from the jump. Dylan Laube will be another player that I'll go with, and then give me Trey Taylor. I would say those are the first three names that come to my mind, and those are the first ones that I'm going to go with. I also see Thayer Munford is another one that absolutely could be thrown into that mix. So here we go. This is kind of fun. If you could pick one of these players to keep, Dylan Laube, Thayer Munford, or Amari Gaynor. All right, you got to keep one of them. Who are you going to end up keeping? Type 23 for Laube, 77 for Munford, 53 for Amari Gaynor. Boy. If I had to keep one of these guys, I know I'm thinking about it too long. Give me Amari Gaynor. And again, I value his special teams ability, though offensive line is a need. I'm not going to keep Thayer Munford if they're going to play him at offensive tackle. Running back, Laube to me is the easiest name on that list to replace. So I'm going to go with Amari Gaynor because he offers you some ability to cover. And based on some of these comments, I would see Gaynor and Laube seem to be the top two answers. I don't think I've seen a single 77. What up, Shane Gimble? Can Carter Runyon block? If so, Raiders should bring him strong eye, weak side formation, use him as a fullback like Marcel Reese. Marcel Reeses don't grow on trees, and I don't think Carter Runyon is ready to be a Marcel Reese yet. Quite frankly, I think it's a big ass to have because he's a tight end. And a lot of times that first year for a tight end, you just got to learn how to develop as a blocker. Did he block well in college? Yes, but he was also at Townsend. I think he's probably more suited to be a receiver. If you're looking for this player, his name's probably Ian Thomas or Albert O, if that's the type of tight end you're looking for. I don't really see them doing that with a guy like Runyon. I'll also say this, that's a role that, Brock Bowers can play. Brock Bowers can line up at tight end. Brock Bowers can line up at wide receiver. Brock Bowers can also line up at H-back. It's why he's the best tight end in the National Football League. For those that do not know, I am going to be live. When? This Saturday, 2 hours before kickoff. Raiders, Cardinals. I am super excited to be able to do it. For all of y'all that are watching this live, I'm going to be out in Tucson, Arizona on Friday. If you're not watching this live, I'll be able to tell you guys about my experience out in Tucson with a bunch of Raiders fans. Make sure you pull up. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to have a hell of a time. Saturday night, we're going to be watching this thing at like midnight. As soon as midnight hits, we're going to give you guys some fun deals. We're going to be putting some beers down. It's going to be an electric experience. Make sure you pull up. All right, y'all. Final chance here to get in the 50-50, and I just want y'all to know that I'm not lying. I already I got a phone call from my wife and said, what time are you going to be home? Because I told her I would be done by 5:30. So I'm a little late. The wife called. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a duck race, and then I am going to get on out of here. If you're trying to get in the duck race, it is a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. And right now, the last time that I checked, the winner would go home with $160 on the show, but I got to add a bunch of people. So let me be very transparent on that. So I see Darian, you're in twice. Chad Howard, gotcha. LA Crash, gotcha. Patrick B, gotcha. Twice, love it. I see Gary Backus in. Patrick Roche in. Thomas Davis in. I'm going to refresh my phone. $20 Venmo. Right now you'd go home with $250 here on the Raiders Report. So again, I don't mean to hurry you guys up, but I did tell my wife that I'd be home by 6, and I just know for a fact that ain't going to happen. So bear with me a little bit. We're going to go through here. We're going to do this duck race. We're going to give away some money, and then we're going to get this thing going. Jack eats spicy shit. I want to so bad, but I'm broke. It's all right, bro.
How was the game?
Yeah, how was the game? It was what? Rays, Yankees, right?
I think so.
Rays, Yankees with your buddies. Final refresh here. Chugs, can you add Stanley Holmes? And can you add Sean Morgan? All right, that's it. Nobody else. If you send in it again, you're just going to donate to Chuck's college fund. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right, get on your sacks.
Good old sack race.
A good old sack race. I'm not surprised that Sean Morgan, he looks like a guy that can jump on a sack. He looks like a guy that can jump. Stanley Holmes also right there. Richard Black. Darth. Fats. Multiple Fats there. Robert Boone, watch out for Darian. Soulja Man's got a bunch of guys in this one. Patrick B got the party started, and right now he's out to a little bit of a lead. Thomas, I would say Thomas Davis. You think Thomas Davis or Patrick B? I mean, these guys are neck and neck right now. Though, I'm not going to lie, Fabian Moreno is creeping in. And if Fabian wins again, we're going to have a problem. Sorry, Fabian. Richard Black, Chad Howard, Thomas Davis starting to fall back here a little bit. Watch out for Roche up there. Uh-oh, Soulja Man starting to make a move. Soulja Man starting to make a move. Anthony Green, it's been a minute. And he got the green. I don't think anybody has won more than Anthony Green, and congratulations.
I don't think anybody's lost more than Anthony Green.
True. I mean, I don't think anybody has raced more than Anthony Green. Every time I've done this, he's done it. Every time there's a duck race, you already know that Anthony Green is getting in. So, Green, if you could please confirm. Oh, crap. Wrong number. If you could please confirm, Mr. Green, that you just received $270, that would be great. Green said, don't call it a comeback.
I've been here for years.
I've been here. Anthony, can you please confirm that you just received $270 here on the Raiders Report?
Oh, last place, Crash Dog.
Crash Dog, I'll send it to you. Don't worry. Though, if you're going to be out in Tucson tomorrow, I'll give you the real deal.
He said he's got it.
He got it. All right, y'all. Sorry that I'm getting out of here so quickly. I hope that you can understand. I just don't want my wife to kick my ass. From me, from Jeremy Chugs, I'll see you guys out there. Tucson, Arizona, 12 o'clock. Desert Shark, Tucson. And also make sure you pull up Raiders Cardinals going live 2 hours before the Raiders' final preseason game.